race car is in. Hamlin Reddick on the front row. And we are going green in Nashville in the Cracker Barrel 400.
Wow, big launch there by Denny. Kind of wondering why the outside line didn't get a better launch. Look how far ahead Denny is, man. He is gone.
Enormous jump at the start for Denny Hamlin. Bell in the 20 working the outside lane and driving to the outside of the 7 of Daniel Suarez, who won the Coke 600 last Sunday evening. Settles in behind him.
Hey, Adam, they just told Denny Hamlin on the radio they are posting you for jumping the start.
Wow.
So remind everybody, the leader has control of the race, but his opportunity to start the race starts in the restart zone. The 11 in NASCAR's eyes went before than he should. So even as the control car, he's the first car to go, but you still have to wait until the zone. Let's take a look at it, Dale.
Yeah, right here, you're going to see him take off. You see the white line up here? That's the beginning of the restart zone. He goes well before that. I was wondering why he was able to get such a great jump, and I think the 45 of Reddick knows, hey, we're not going to go until we're at the line. Denny goes a little bit early. Be interesting to see what Denny's opinion of that is. And here he comes, slowing the car down to make that transition on a pit road and almost spins the car out. You see him jump sideways right there.
Well, the one thing I would say here, if you're going to make a mistake like this, do it early. And by being out front, you maybe minimize the damage as far as the potential of going a lap down and all of that. So the pass-through penalty, you rejoin the field, and you know you're going to get that competition caution to catch up at lap 35.
The roll-through is going to cost him about 27, 28 seconds. So with 30-second lap times, he should come out about a half a straightaway in front of the leaders. So he won't lose a lap. To your point, if he could just maintain that area, he'll be fine for the competition yellow.
Yeah, he won't lose a lap. They're not going to double the purse either, unfortunately. But he's going to come out on the racetrack about a straightaway, the full length of the back straightaway in front of the field. He's got enough speed. He should be able to run this car to that 35-lap break without worrying about losing a lap or even having to be hounded by the leader, who is now Reddick.
Now there you see the gap. Reddick takes over control of the race. Bell able to get up to second in the running order, going around Suarez. And now Larson is there looking to pick up a spot in the 5.
You got to run off of turn 4 to be able to go to the inside. Suarez is going to stay there on the outside, down the back straightaway. The 5 can't quite clear, so we're side by side down the back straightaway with Suarez on the outside. How good is this outside line down here in turn 3 and 4? Suarez gets a little tight right there. The 5's back to the gas a little sooner, but not able to clear. Still side by side onto the front straightaway. Gibbs not really able to do anything back here behind both these cars. Down into turn 1, the 5 backs up the entry. Must be a little bit slick down there. Doesn't feel comfortable sailing it in there. And the 7 of Suarez still in control of this spot.
Tyler Reddick leading, coming back to the start-finish line. And as we run lap 8 at Nashville, we go silent in honor of Kyle Busch. Reddick in charge of the field, but Bell only 0.6 of a second back. Larson did get third from Suarez as you watch those two race. Next in line, Ty Gibbs in the 54, and a good start to the race for Ryan Blaney as they race in front of him. He's been able to drive up there to the 6th position.
This battle right there continues as Suarez gets more and more comfortable with that outside. It becomes more and more difficult to pass him. Ty Dillon's going to sail it down here, try to get in the corner deep enough. The 7's just trying to stay on the quarter panel. Oh, Ty Gibbs up the racetrack. Takes away the arrow.
That's probably some of that looseness for the 7, right? Kind of gets some wheel in it, gets in that dirty air.
Basically, when you're on the right side, or if you're offset with the right headlight out, a little contact right there. That's tight racing. Here comes the 24.
Yeah, Byron following him through. I love when they drop down on the apron, get aggressive here on the front straightaway.
Now we're side by side, and Blaney wants to keep this spot. He had to check up just a little bit on the inside off of turn 4, and that allowed this 24 to get to his inside. Now they're battling. Outside, oh, Blaney, a big moment right there. Huge moment for Blaney. Almost spun that car out.
Those are the bumps, I think, Dale, that you were talking about. That was that spot in 3 and 4. Kind of got over the bump. I think it generates some movement in the car, and that was very uncomfortable for the 12.
Yeah, that was huge.
Look at Shane Van Gisbergen. I mean, what did he say to Marty before we went green tonight? These concrete racetracks, they're just weird.
Yeah.
I thought that was wonderful analysis of what you'll face here tonight. So far, so good, though, for driver 97, 8th in the running order.
Suarez has found him a spot right there to be able to try to get into a rhythm, and we're on board the 12 as he gets loose. Watch the wheel. Big moment right there just before that bump.
It was. I thought the bump did. It looked to me on the onboard that he got tight and he put some wheel into it and the car responded, and then he had like a little bit too much wheel. And
I think if the bump wasn't there, he would have spun out.
I'll tell you what, though, we talked about the importance of being aggressive early, knowing the competition caution's coming at lap 35. William Byron has done that. He's up to 5th in the running order, riding here with Blaney, the Ford Racing on board. Eric Jones inside the top 10. He's been really good on the concrete. Top 10 in this race a year ago. And, you know, I was talking earlier about Zilich and how good he was in the All-Star race. Jones was the same at Dover. So maybe there is something that blends over for that race team.
Look at the run through the middle of the corner for that 43 to the outside of SVG down the front straightaway. That was impressive to see the speed of that car. The high side in turn 3 and 4, down here 1 and 2. Let's see if he can do that as well. He just sends it in there, way up the racetrack, carries so much momentum through the center and off the corner. He continues that. He's going to be able to get up here and get this 7 of Suarez.
Jones turned 30 yesterday. Gets to go home next week to Michigan and looking good right now in Music City. Tyler Reddick leads 16 laps in. Just shy of 20 laps in at Nashville for NASCAR's Cup Series. Tyler Reddick leads Bell, Larson, Gibbs, and Byron. Let's have a look now at the Burn Bar presented by Red Bull.
Yeah, we saw this some last year, and basically this is a calculation of miles per gallon. We expect these guys to get between 4 and 6 miles per gallon. Average running is around 5. You see in the pylon, like Reddick right now is 4.8. Bell in second is 4.9. Tire speed has a lot to do with this. Like on brand new tires, you definitely don't get as much, as good a fuel consumption. But as we run longer in, you're going to see that. And then remember that Logano highlight, the 5 overtime? He went 110 laps that day. So when we talk about being able to go about 70 laps, he stretched his to 110. So you see it right here, right? 4.7 miles per gallon. It's a 1.3-mile racetrack. I think if these guys work really hard, they can improve that at like a half a mile to a whole mile for every gallon burned. That's a long ways. And how do you do that at a track like Nashville? Well, 2 real big things burn fuel, right? The throttle's the obvious one. The more you press the throttle, the more throttle you're using. But Dale, we've talked about brakes. You see right there in the bottom left, a little bit of brake usage at a Reddick. Well, if you're trying to save gas, you lift a little early. You don't use any brakes. You let the car coast and roll. There, it takes less throttle to accelerate back down the straightaway. We'll revisit this all night. You never know when a fuel mileage race may break out.
And think about that in Michigan, Pocono.
Yeah.
I mean, the coming weeks, we'll see it a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, here on Prime, we used the Burn Bar a lot last year. We didn't really use it at the 600 much. I was wondering if people were curious where it went.
Yeah, and really for the 600, even though NASCAR's longest race, because of the 100-lap stages, it really doesn't show up as much. Here, stage 1, stage 2, I don't expect it to be a story, but that third stage, we can see somebody try to stretch a tank.
Riding on board with Joey Logano here. Hunt's Brothers Pizza on board. Brad Keselowski. Bubba Wallace out there behind him. We saw just a minute ago, Logano gave up a spot to Allmendinger. Allmendinger running really well up there in 12th place, just ahead of Joey.
I'm going to be really interested to see these Goodyear tires in about 10 more laps. And this should be the worst, right? I mean, the wear should get a little better as we run.
Absolutely, yeah. This will be the worst run. Every run after this, the wear will get increasingly better as they put more rubber down on the racetrack. The track becomes less abrasive to the tire.
We had so much fun last Sunday night in the Coke 600 talking about Zane Smith.
Yeah, we did.
And, they had a strategy play. He leads 31 laps, most laps he's ever led in a race. We knew there could be momentum there because he finished second here at Nashville a couple of years ago. But what was amazing to me, they got the top 10 in the 600. They led those laps, had a penalty, and still were able to rally. This is a guy that's really finding some rhythm right now.
They ran good here last year, had a top 10 in one of the stages. So, I mean, I was hoping that we would see him again inside the top 15 this weekend to be able to continue that conversation around this young man. He's got a lot of talent. He's worked really hard to create his opportunities. And he's with a team that, traditionally doesn't run in the top 10 a lot. So this is a great opportunity for the team to improve, for them to go up there and run in the top 10 and see what that's like and know how they can, know what they need to do and what's working. Start sharing that information with his teammates.
That line he just ran at 3 and 4, super impressed. He entered the middle, and that car could turn down and get a great run off the corner. Now he's going to turn below the 7. And look how good this 38 turns the middle of the corner. I'm impressed with the handling of this 38 early.
It's handling good, but you see it moving around as well. He's driving the wheels off of it. Kid is not afraid to mash it and can drive it to the limit, drive it right on the edge. Mark Martin, all of our pre-race, they talked about how you have to drive this racetrack, this concrete on the edge. Carl Edwards talked about how important that is for a driver to be able to do that, and he's out there able to really push that car to the limit. Back in, slipping around right here. You can see him a little bit loose through the corner. Little twitch in the wheel, kind of controlling that rear slide.
Suarez is battling right on his door.
Yeah. Suarez isn't making it easy.
Everybody trying to survive to get to the yellow, reset. Really good stuff here for 9th on track.
And behind Zane and Suarez battling is Hocevar, who had a great run here last year as well. And one of the Spire cars closing in on his teammate. Suarez is going to lose that spot. Suarez continues to fade into the backside of the top 10.
Yeah, Spire's finished second here the last 2 years. A couple of years ago, Zane was driving for the organization, got that runner-up finish I referenced, and you talk about Hocevar a year ago, his best run at the time when he came home second in this race to Ryan Blaney. Update 77 now. What's going on, Trevor?
Yeah, guys, Carson Hocevar has been very quiet on the radio, but the thing I find interesting is what you're seeing on the screen right now. Not many cars have been moving up. What Carson's been doing to make these passes up 6 spots since the restart is run that lane up through 1 and 2 and then dive into the bottom underneath them through 3 and 4. You're seeing it live right here with Suarez.
Suarez just turned left and drove across the nose of the 77. For that reason, he lost a little bit of momentum. Back on the offense, though. Car recovers very quickly, kind of goes back between that little bit of a draft. This is that higher lane that we were just heard from with Trevor. We'll see if that momentum off the top lane helps him down the back straightaway.
Yeah, the top 3 actually are running this higher lane, so a lot of the cars starting to get information about where they want to be on the racetrack to find speed. And you can see the 77 fades a little bit to the inside, drives down in the corner. The 7 shuts the door, takes the air away, so the 77 jumps up the racetrack to get that air back under the car, get the downforce back in it.
Here's another thing to think about when you watch these two teammates race. They've won this year, 9th and 10th, when you look at those chase standings. So as the night goes on, you want to make sure and generate stage points, and they're hanging right around that line right now as we head toward the comp caution.
I tell you, when the 77 drove under the 7, you could see the front rotors glow. I wasn't sure if that was every lap or just that situation because he was in traffic. We'll see this turn 1. We kind of get a good look of the right front. That was the one that was warm on the 77. We'll see if it's bright red again or if it was just one lap, one situation.
No, she's bright red.
It is bright red. Holy smokes, that would be a bit concerning. I'm trying to look. It doesn't look like there's a lot of grill opening. You talked about the variety, Dale. This car.
When I went to this car in the garage this weekend, they had just little, probably 1/4-inch slits going across that were open across both sides, left and right. So very little air going through that. But again, I mean, there were majority of the teams, I would say more than 60% of the teams are taped completely solid. So they do have a little bit of an opening there. But you can run different pads, you can run different rotors, all types of different things like that will determine how much heat gets into that rotor.
And here's a great look. In the left front's not very red, but look right here. Look inside that right front wheel. It is on fire appearing, which we see that at short tracks. It just really jumped out at me here at Nashville. It doesn't shock me that the left front is that cool. Obviously, to your point about the different pads, you can run different pads right to left. So maybe they feel, or their setup, they feel like they're just using way more right front brake than left.
And they either worry about them getting too cool, being too cold. That's why everybody's trying to tape up, because they worry about them being too cold, and that creates a vibration. Or they get too hot and it actually changes the shape of the rotor, and it makes contact with the caliper, and that's when we have the catastrophic failures that we've seen from time to time.
Byron got by Blaney, 12 right back in the hip pocket of the 24 as the caution comes out. The competition caution that we anticipated at lap 35 because of all the rains we got in beginning this race on a green racetrack. Reddick got the lead after Hamlin picked up the penalty. Bell is second. Larson, Gibbs, Byron the top 5. Rest of the top 10, Blaney, Jones, Van Gisbergen, Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar. Let's do a Cracker Barrel pit report and lead things off with Kim Kuhn.
Yeah, William Byron running in the 5th position, and they've been honest about the tough year they've had. They've struggled to get the updated Chevy body the way they wanted it, but I had a really good conversation with crew chief Rudy Fugel this morning saying they made huge steps in Dover. Having all that time on track during All-Star Weekend was so beneficial to them moving in the right direction. The car fired off good, but then it was going free into turn 3 and off 4, Marty.
Kim checking in with Denny Hamlin to answer Dale Jr.'s question after the start of the race. Hamlin started on the pole, jumped the start. NASCAR black flagged him, made him come through do a penalty down pit road. Hamlin has not said a word about the start of the race. Not sure if that's driver code for telling the team, hey, my bad, or not, but Hamlin said he was going to, quote, ride around in the back until this comp caution, Trevor.
Carson Hocevar, we saw on the screen there that he had that right front rotor glow, and they've been debating it on the radio here. He said, Luke Lambert asked him, is this something you can manage because it'll slow down our pit stop if we have to pull tape? Carson said, I don't think so. This is something I'll need to use. I need to be able to drive in the corner deep, use that brake pedal to make these passes that I'm making. So ongoing discussion on whether or not they'll try to get that tape or not, guys.
I tell you what I love about that, Trevor, is we talk about youth and experience and the driver-crew chief relationship. Pulling tape will slow a pit stop down and hurt the aero, but Luke Lambert believes in his 23-year-old. He asked the question. His driver says, nope, I know you want it that way. I need this tool back. We'll see if they adjust it on the pit stop. Those little things I have seen before where a crew chief kind of gets stuck in his ways or stuck with engineering and forces the driver to do something. Sounds to me he's going to give that tool back to his driver.
Yep, and the crew chief would prefer not to pull that tape. That tape on the grill is a little bit of added downforce to the overall race car. A little bit on the front, but also everywhere around that race car. It improves how fast that car can go through the middle of the corner.
Well, I'm excited to see how you get some tape off the nose of one of these things in a 9-second pit stop. You're going to remember, there's only one tire carrier. This isn't like the years past where there were two tire carriers. So you see right there, tire carrier, 2 tires in hands. He'll set a tire down. The jack man will hand. There's going to be a lot of orchestration around the front. We'll see how the 77 pulls it off. They absolutely practice it. Now you have to put practice, into play here on pit road.
36 cars on the lead lap. Pit road going to be a really busy place here. Kim Kuhn, they're heading your way.
Yeah, I remember Kyle Larson telling us at the desk during that rain delay that the car felt comfortable yesterday. That continues today. Said it feels good, just gets slick in the traction compound, losing grip. He did report he had a slight brake shake. They aren't worried about that, Trevor.
Tyler Reddick got a little bit free once he inherited the lead from Denny Hamlin. They're going to work on that a little bit here with Ford tires and fuel in the 45. Ty Gibbs, pretty quiet on the radio throughout the run. Pretty happy with his Toyota. Marty.
Christopher Bell said tight on both ends of the corners in the middle of the corner, but a little bit too free off. He said it's worse in 3 and 4. You see where Bell leads, but several teams choosing 2 tires there and gaining some track position, Adam.
Yeah, Marty, as we look at the Goodyear race off pit road, top 3 take 2 tires. SVG, Logano, and Keselowski. The restart coming up. Back in Nashville, aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, born on the track, built for the street.
Busy on pit road. Some teams taking 2 tires, a little bit of a gamble with 50 to go here in the stage. Carson Hocevar, that really high temperature on his right front brake. Watch this pit stop. There's a couple different ways to do this. You could get the tape off going around the car. What they do is they go from right to left, and then the tire carrier will come back to the front and try to get the tape off, and Hocevar will leave on the jack as he should. He's not waiting for that tape to come off, so it's hard to tell in this angle. Right here, I couldn't tell if he has it. And then you look down as a crew chief, you're hoping to get some good news. And then the guy gives you a little report, no dice. Did not get the tape off. Hard to do. These pit stops are just so quick. So we just have to keep watching that 77 and see if that brake temperature becomes an issue or if he's able to manage it. It will be much worse back in traffic. We talk a lot about downforce. Well, that cool air also cools the brakes. We'll see how it works, and we'll see how 2 tires work for the handful of cars that decided to gamble.
Yeah, I mean, we've shaken up the field because of those drivers that took 2 tires. Hocevar was 14th prior to the choose. He's taken the inside lane here. Van Gisbergen going to be the control car up front with Logano. First driver on 4, Reddick in row 2.
So left side tires aren't wearing. That is really why teams are gambling. The thing is, though, old left side tires may increase right side wear. Only time will tell.
Drivers can go to the end of stage 1 from here on fuel. Leaders heading to the Echo Park Automotive Restart Zone. SVG said racing on concrete is weird, but you give them a little clean air, the preferred inside lane, and 97 goes to the point.
This is the same we saw last week at Charlotte. I questioned how he would do in the front row. He proved me completely wrong as we see Reddick roll the outside, Larson to the inside, some slipping out of the 6 of Keselowski.
Brad had to get out of the gas there. Lost both of those spots. 45 to the outside of the 22 here. Logano for second place. Got a great run into the throttle. Logano can't finish the gas on the bottom of the racetrack. Gives up the spot easily. Larson now fades to the inside. Logano takes that spot. Now the 5 is going to try to get to the right rear of the 22. He does. Down the front straightaway. Should have the momentum to be able to take over 3rd spot while Reddick tries to figure out a way to get to the leader here, SVG.
Reddick not wasting any time on a restart on those 4 tires. Larson coming with him.
Bell to the outside of the 22 there.
That corner by the 97, really impressive. He just rolled the bottom. He's going to make the 45 and the 5 work their way around. He's not going to slip up and give it to him. The 45 is going to accept the challenge.
The 45's got his hands full now with the 5 of Larson. Larson able to roll the second half of that corner and stay right here on the inside. Gets a little bit of a side draft, fires down into turn 1, clear for a second. The 97's going to drive in front of him, take away a little bit of his air. That's going to allow the 45 of Reddick to stay on the outside down the back straightaway. 45 clear into second place. Oh man, he drives to the bottom of the racetrack. Larson has to go to the top. 45 with a wiggle, Larson back to the bottom.
Now Bell is right there. You said he was on the move, Dan. Boy, they're leaning on each other a little bit.
Those 2 look like they're driving a sprint car with all the crossovers. That's like what a good slicked off dirt race looks like. Now the 45 is going to roll the top, and Bell is just going to overdrive the bottom.
Now Bell to the inside of the 5, can't stay there.
Reddick was 2nd, now he's 4th. Larson goes by, Bell takes advantage with a loss of momentum.
The whole time, the 97 on only 2 tires is doing a great job keeping the lead. And to be honest, Logano, even though he got past, he settled into 5th. He still doesn't continue to lose time. Keselowski as well has found their way. And so it seems like the 4 tires were definitely better lap 1 or 2, but it seems like it has settled at least some. I would imagine it'll fade the longer we run, but so far I would say good call for 2 tires, at least for the 97.
Reddick's probably giving his team some feedback about what he needs out of his car. It's not quite performing the way it did on the first start of the race. And the 20 of Christopher Bell putting a little bit of pressure on the front 2 here. Larson, he's in striking distance of SVG. He's trying to figure out where SVG is going to run on the racetrack so he can go somewhere else. He goes to the top of the racetrack as SVG goes to the bottom. SVG doing a great job carrying speed through the middle of the corner, Steve, not allowing this 5 to get to the quarter panel for a side draft. Down in turn 3 and 4, SVG fades to the middle a little bit, forces Larson to go way up the racetrack. Larson's going to be there, though. Should be a pretty easy position for Larson to take on the top of the racetrack here down into turn 1 and 2.
Driver 5, so good at this racetrack. Kim listed his numbers before we went green, living up to expectation.
Wow, look at this. Oh, a little contact right there.
Again. I'll tell you what, Shane Van Gisbergen is a fighter up there.
Shane was sideways through turns 1 and 2, trying to stay there to be able to draw even with the 5 on the back straightaway. Used all the racetrack and then some into the door of the 5 as they're side by side down the front straightaway into turn 1 and 2.
And this is like the next evolution for SVG on the ovals in my mind, right? First it was learn the car, then it was learn the ovals, and now this is what you can't sim. There's no simulator that's going to show what it's like to drive double file with Kyle Larson around Nashville, and he is learning every trick. He is showing his own hand, and he is racing the 5 car. What a move by the 97.
Dude, incredible.
He took that spot back. I did not think that was possible. I thought Larson was going to take it away pretty easily.
I mean, he's got a big fan base, too, down in Australia and New Zealand who are cheering. They're loving this out of their driver and now pulling away.
Yeah, Larson's struggling a little bit here last couple of corners. Christopher Bell's trying to take advantage of that.
40 laps to go, stage 1. Shane Van Gisbergen leading the way. Larson, Bell, Reddick, Logano, your top 5. .34 laps to go, stage 1, and the Cracker Barrel 400 from Nashville. When we were side by side, you saw the change for the race lead. Kyle Larson muscles up and gets by SVG, and he brought Christopher Bell with him.
Take a look at that, man. That was such an awesome move off of turn 2. They go down into turn 1 side by side, and Larson just throttles up. Right here, the 97 gets tight. So he lost a little bit of grip right there, but as soon as you drive into the door, that car, the outside car gets tight, cranks the wheel, busts the back loose, kind of slides up the racetrack, had to jump out of the throttle. We got a battle for the lead here. Christopher Bell, he looks pretty good comparable to the 5. I think he's got a little bit faster car, but Larson's going to try to keep the track position, do everything he can to dirty up the air for this 20 car.
Oh, I love that right there. I love that the outside lane will allow a car to roll this middle. He couldn't stay committed, had a little wiggle on corner exit. Logano, Byron on the bottom. Remember the 22 on 2 tires. Doing so far so good, falling back to 6th. 32 to go is a long time, though. We'll see how this holds on.
I mean, you talk about the net gain. Logano was 13th when they did the 2-tire stop. So just kind of manage over the long haul and Well, also, you get a real good read, as we've talked about, on the tire wear and how everybody manages this for later in the night.
And just in front of these cars, SVG and Reddick. Reddick was right on the back bumper of Shane, and now he's driven away from this 45 car. Again, Reddick doesn't look that good right now comparable to the first run. I'm sure he's fighting some balance issues they're going to try to work on. But SVG on this 2 tires right now, this car looks phenomenal. Marty?
He's willing to scrap, isn't he, Junior? SVG is on those right side tires, and I just checked in with Stephen Dorr, and he said, listen, this was not a move for us to win the stage. This was a move for us to use the phrase you guys just used, a net gain. They were running 8th when they came down pit road, took those right side tires. So Stevie told me if we're in the top 6 at the end of the stage, that's a net gain for us. I will take it. How much are your moves, Steve, as a crew chief, are just about that little phrase, a net gain? May not win you the stage, but it'll get you a more track position.
Well, look, the minds on pit road are just too talented. You're not going to go from 25th to 5th or 25th to 2nd. You have to kind of inch your way up. I also think it's a good gamble because if it doesn't work, you still have the whole race to kind of recover. If his net gain is goals of 6th, it's going to be really close. I think Reddick, Byron, Logano all look a little bit better at the moment, but we'll just have to see as it runs, how the balance of everybody's car.
There's your guy, Chase
Hey,
Briscoe.
Yeah.
I mean, they took 2 tires.
They did.
After starting 31st, gained a ton of track position, and now trying to get 7th away from Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, this is the time of year last year where this 19 team started to turn the corner and put together a really solid run all through the remainder of the season. They showed up last week with a good solid car and ran up front in the 600. Feel like that they'll find their way toward the front of the field here soon enough. Battle for the lead is still pretty close at the top of the screen.
You think about Briscoe. You come into the night, you know how difficult this place can be when it comes to making passes. And you find yourself just, barely above that chase cutoff, right? So you think stage points are going to be hard to come by. But now you manufacture some track position with a strategy, and you got a chance to make it happen with 27 to go. And the same for Van Gisbergen, who needs all he can get right now. 14th coming in, and they're in a pretty good spot right now. Still a chunk to race here in stage 1, but you got to feel good about the opportunity that lies ahead. Blaney gets a spot going around Brad.
Blaney just always finds a way to manufacture more speed out of his Penske Ford than I think what we expect. But here he is, Logano a little bit ahead on that 2-tire call. Blaney kind of a couple positions now. These two are stuck together. Bell is not allowing Larson to have a breath.
Bell to the bottom of the racetrack trying to wrap the corner. Can't quite get into the quarter panel to slow him down. If the 5's just making sure to back up the first half of the corner so he can make the most of corner exit. Seems slow down right there, turn across the bottom of the racetrack, throttle up and accelerate. And he gets away from that 20, so Christopher Bell really doesn't have a chance to get to the outside or inside to be able to slow him down on the straightaway with the side draft. It's really, really smart. The 5 drives at the top of the racetrack right here. Carries a lot of momentum into throttle on exit. That's the strong point of this 5 car in defense to try to keep this lead position is his car from center off. He's able to give up a little bit right there. 20 closes in, but right here he just drives away. Big, big gain on corner exit.
Larson leading laps here tonight for the first time since he led 264 here in 2021. Pulled into the victory lane. Let's get a 5 report from Kim.
Yeah, Kyle Larson quiet on the radio through this battle with Christopher Bell behind him. Crew chief Cliff Daniels, though, coming on the radio saying pace is great, line is great, but make it live. They did have a slight cord on the right front after that first 35-lap run, so just the team reminding him that we still have 24 to go here.
Well, I will tell you that entering the middle and turning down in front of the 20 is asking the right front to do a lot, right? Like if you run that middle lane off, it's usually a little easier on that right front tire. Now look, Kyle Larson knows everything he's doing. He knows how that feels.
It's all right, Steve. Yeah, that's absolutely right. You're driving the car. Oh, we got in the wall a little bit there off the corner. Got a little bit tight behind the 66 there.
And I think the big fear is this is the same tire we saw at Charlotte. The difference was the asphalt. We talked concrete versus asphalt. So last week, the tire slowed down gradually, finally wore out. Here at Nashville, it just doesn't slow down as much. So it's very advantageous for me, the crew chief, to gamble, to take 2 tires, to stay out, to run long. I talked to a bunch of crew chiefs, and their biggest fear is that it's going to be really good until it's not, and it's going to flip like a switch. Like all of a sudden you go down in a corner, and it's just going to get a big push, take the last little bit of rubber off the tire, and as a driver, Dale, you just don't know it's coming. When they're not sure you're going to have the same warning you had at Charlotte.
Larson ran the O'Reilly race last night, ran the top of the racetrack, found a lot of speed up there. And another thing with tire wear in moving around, when you do go to the top of the racetrack, there's a little bit less rubber up there. You're one of the first cars kind of putting rubber down on the racetrack. It will wear the tire out faster. But you see him now trying, when the 20 gets close, he just tries to drive in front of that 20. Wherever that 20's at, he tries to get in front of him so he can't take advantage of the aero. Trevor.
Yeah, you guys touched on it after the pit cycle that the 77 of Carson Hocevar was not able to get that tape off the brake duct. They're going another route to try to get this issue solved. They've asked Carson to dial some rear brake bias to it to take some temperature out of the right front. Dale, you know that also has a big effect on the balance.
Yeah, I mean, when you're thinking about the brake bias, that's how much the front or the rear is clamping and how much force it has when you mash the brake pedal. And if you put it to the rear, it's going to make the car looser, or the back swing around and lose grip, or if you put it all to the front, you're going to be tighter in the braking zones or slowing the car down into the corner. So hopefully his car has a little bit of a snug condition to where when he puts that rear brake to it, it sort of neutralizes the balance a little bit, and it'll take a little bit of temperature out of that front brakes just for the time being.
Hocevar gets around Bowman for 12th. Bowman took 2 tires on that first cycle of stops. Kyle Larson leading with 19 to go stage 1.
Oh, we got a car in the wall.
Caution out for a second time tonight at Nashville. This time it's for rookie Connor Zilisch.
Yeah, get down into turn 1. Watch this. Let's listen. How violent is that, man?
Well, that Red Bull onboard camera really helping you understand how rough the ride was into the wall.
Golly. So the right front rotor explodes right here as he gets to the end of the front straightaway, and he's just along for the ride at that point. And Steve, we were talking off camera.
Oof.
about how this happens. I mentioned earlier that the rotor can get hot and deform and get into the caliper, and that creates a catastrophic failure. Otherwise, there's other ways this can happen.
Yeah, let's listen into what they're thinking on the radio.
Rotor exploded. I had no soft pedal or anything.
We got opening on the right front than anybody too. I don't know why that happened.
All right, so to your point, soft pedal, what does he mean? When you talked about the rotor getting so hot that it glows and hits the caliper, that normally happens because it gets so bright red that you press on it, it grows, and you get a soft pedal, meaning you press on the pedal and it gets mushy. Listen. That happens at the end of the straightaway almost before he lifts. The other way a rotor breaks is it gets hot, and then you have so much opening, then down the straightaway, it's like ice cold. It's like going out and throwing like ice cold water on a molten piece of glass. It just cracks and explodes. So what happens is you just heat shock the rotor, hot, cold, so many times that literally the cast steel cracks, splinters, and explodes. My bet would be on the latter for here. I don't think it got so hot that it made contact. I think it actually got hot, cold, so many heat cycles that the cast iron rotor itself just exploded, especially where it did. Normally when it hits the rotor, yes, it's like you get on the brakes, it makes it grow. That almost happened right before he was gonna lift, which would be the coolest point for the rotor. Like it cooled so much, it finally exploded. Either way, result the same, and it's awful. And you know, we talked about the 19-year-old trying to run all 300 laps. So here's a race he's only run, 75 laps. He's just not going to get the learning experience he wants.
We came in here worried about brakes. We talked to a lot of crew chiefs in the garage about brakes. Everybody had a different approach. We're starting to see in this race teams talk about issues. Now we have drivers who have had issues. This will be an issue tonight, but also you think about the low downforce package, the more horsepower, so we have less drag to slow the car down. Right. You have more speed because of the horsepower. You're going to have to use more brake, have more brake pressure getting into the corner. So this was already a track where we thought brake issues. Now that's going to be worse with this type of a package. And we take this same thing to St. Louis, where they've had issues there. So the teams have a lot to think about as we move forward into the season to try to avoid these types of problems.
Big strategy opportunity here. We'll see how it plays out. Caution coming inside of 20 laps to go in the stage. Pit road is open. Here they are, Kim.
Including leader Kyle Larson. You see him top left of your screen. He said car is good, a little free. He did tell his team though, ran hard there. They will make an air pressure adjustment, take fuel and tires, Trevor.
Tyler Reddick feels like that 45 Toyota has freed up since it's cooled off outside. They'll make some adjustments to tighten him up and take 4 tires to set up for the stage break, Marty.
Trevor, almost at the end of stage 1, question is, do you go for a quick stop here in stage points or take your time and make the next stop quicker? Adam Stevens going with option B, waiting on fuel for fresh tires. Bell said we are so close. Meanwhile, SVG said that was so much fun out there. They go with 4 tires as well, but several going with 2, Adam.
Yeah, Goodyear race off pit road, best of the bunch, +7 for Ryan Blaney. He got 2, so did Chase Elliott. 4 drivers stay out, among them AJ Allmendinger. We ride once again with Connor Zilic. Second yellow of the night. Brake problems for the rookie from North Carolina. Going to be a short run to the finish of stage 1 in the Cracker Barrel 400 here at Nashville. And now this relief lap, sponsored by National Debt Relief. Getting out of debt is easier when you have all of us behind you. Chad Fincham getting a lap back, so he's 1 lap down. Good for the driver from Knoxville, Tennessee. Allmendinger and Herbst stay out. Blaney the first off the pit lane on 2 tires. Let's update the 20 of Christopher Bell.
Yeah, Bell all the way back 29th right now. Slow on the right side, and then a little kind of pushing and shoving around the front, but really focus on the rear. See, can't get the tire off. We can't move. The car wasn't jacked up high enough. Finally, they get it jacked up more. I don't know if the jack is slowly being let down. Like sometimes they don't steal very good, or if it just wasn't high enough to begin with, but a slow transition on the left rear. Bell now completely out of position.
Restart, 11 to go in the stage. Outside lane, Riley Herbst. Inside control car, A.J. Allmendinger. And look at Larson, got it wound up in the outside lane in the 5.
Oh, I thought he jumped the cushion, but he was able to get turned back down to the bottom. Look at Blaney.
Crossover move. Blaney got 2, going for the lead. 3 wide in the corner, coming to 10 to go in the stage. 12 is strong. He gets by Allmendinger, and now his sights set on Riley Herbst.
A little bit of a bobble for that 12. Allmendinger's going to get to the back bumper. Maybe go 3 wide again. Allmendinger says, hey, man, you took me 3 wide into turn 3. We're going down into turn 1. Drives that 16 to the inside of the 12 here. Side by side.
Teammates for 4th back there behind him. Bubba Wallace in the mix right behind them. What a battle for the lead. Allmendinger coming back through.
Chase Briscoe in the mix. Remember, this is a driver that started outside the top 30 in the interview pre-race. He didn't think stage 1 points were an option, and here he is battling with a chance to score points early.
Well, and the fact he took 4 tires last time around, going to put him in a good spot when you talk about the cycle to begin that second stage.
Oh, car in the wall, big crash back here.
Chastain, 71 spinning. Michael McDowell.
Flat right front on the 1. I think the 71 might have just got kind of checked up and spun around as well.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if the flat front tire on the 1 is pre-contact with the wall or after. So disappointing. The 1 runs so well here, and he looks so good in practice. That's the happiest I had seen him in an interview. He was glowing. I couldn't wait to get this 1 car in the race.
Chastain was 14th. McDowell outside the top 25.
Chastain is frustrated.
Yeah, you mentioned how happy he was after practice. I think that's as happy as he had been since he won the 600 last year.
Hey, Adam, it was another rotor.
Yeah,
Ross Chastain said the rotor exploded.
There he goes off into turn 1, hits the wall.
Well, remember, another Trackhouse car. So it's worth pointing out, 2 rotor issues, both Trackhouse. Whatever they think or wherever they came here with an opportunity, obviously, is not working. So you wonder if SVG is going to make an adjustment to his car. That's great information, Marty. We weren't really sure what happened. We just saw the 1 in the wall. There you go. You see the smoke already. So now if you're Stephen Duran, the crew chief of the SVG, you are sending engineers, you are asking your team at home, what do we think we need to go? Overcool, undercool? Do we have to add some tape? As crazy as that sounds, I'm reading radios. The 77's talking about, I don't know if I should pull tape or add tape. They think they want to cool it a little bit more. You talked about it, Dale. More power, less drag. These cars are coasting off into the corner.
Got one in the fin, stay low here.
Toyota Racing onboard camera riding with Nemechek.
All good right there.
Frustration from the 1. But he's also hustling it back to pit road. I know he's frustrated, but trying to get that thing back, make some repairs, get back out there, score points. But he has got to be super frustrated just because I think he knew what he had for a car. It's going to look much the same. So what you're looking at right here, I want to just talk about something. We saw the wheel come off last time, and there's a piece of metal that looks like what a rotor would be. That's just heat shielding behind the rotor. The rotor itself is completely missing. The hat's there. There is no brake rotor. The way they're bolted is they actually float. So think about it like a you know, kind of a wedged together piece. So once you remove a piece, the entire thing scatters off. It's not permanently bolted through, it floats. So once it breaks, it just goes into pieces.
Yeah. That's the tough part for the teams, is they don't know whether the brake needs to be hotter to survive or cooler to survive, because again, we can run too cool and create shake and create this issue where there's, you know, the brakes are getting really hot, really cold, really hot, really cold as you run through the lap and creating cracks, and that creates failures. Or is it getting so hot that it's just melting into the caliper? Trevor.
Yeah, I'm here with one of those Trackhouse drivers, Connor Zilic. Connor, you told me you didn't have any sense of anything happening with the brakes, no pedal fade. I would imagine in your road course background, you know a lot about brakes. What do you make of all this and now seeing your teammate have the same issue?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. It's a bit of a surprise, but yeah, it's been a tough stretch of races for us. Obviously, cars were fast. We were, you know, Ross and I both started in the back, and we're moving forward. And I feel like our Red Bull Chevrolet was good, and yeah, just unfortunate circumstances. But yeah, we'll learn from it, see what we can do better with the brake package, and come back next week at Michigan.
Thank you, Connor. Marty?
Trevor, I don't know if this information helps Steve or not, but I know I talked to Brandon McSwain as Ross Chastain gets out of the car, the crew chief for Ross Chastain this afternoon, and they had the brake duct opening, Steve, 3/4 covered, and after what happened to their teammate Connor Zilic, they pulled a small piece of tape off the right front brake duct a moment ago on that last stop. So they were aware of the issue. They were concerned about it. They did pull some tape on the last stop, but obviously it didn't last very long into that run for Ross Chastain.
Yeah, the hard part is, Dale mentioned it, you know, while all these cars have the same caliper, the pads you run are open. Teams can run any brand of pad they want. You don't even have to run the same brake pads right to left. We could keep talking about the right front being the hottest corner. Some of that is aero. Sounds crazy, but this aero package is so loose bias, so loose, that the teams are doing everything they can to secure up the car. So when you crank a bunch of like standard wedge, you really weight that right front tire. Then when you get on the brakes, the right front's doing most of the slowing. So now the left front's not helping, right? Now you're pushing a stool and one leg's not. Listen to this. So much like Zilic, he was not on the brakes when it exploded. He was still at wide open throttle. That tells me these are being overcooled. That's my educated guess, right? These guys down in the garage have more understanding. But you're going to see right here a big pop, some debris through the right front. But basically what happens is, like I said, you take a red hot piece of glass, you heat something up in the microwave and then stuffs it in a cooler, it shatters. The same thing happens to these brake rotors. You wonder if pulling the piece of tape helped or hurt, but also what brake pad. There may be a pad combination that doesn't work. There may be no fix to this currently on pit road.
So when they go into the corner and mash the brakes, you see temperatures on the brakes around 1,000 to 1,200 degrees, and that will cool down to 600 degrees on the next straightaway, then back up to 1,000 degrees. So imagine doing that over and over, 600, 1,000, 600, 1,000, over and over. You're just sort of changing the molecules and the integrity of this piece of metal, right? And I believe that their failure, I believe this was already, this was going to happen. The caution that we've had just delayed the eventual failure of this right front rotor. But what other teams, and none of the other teams know what package between the masters, between the rotors. They have the brake pads themselves. No one else outside of Trackhouse probably knows what all they have here and whether anyone else in this field is at danger or at risk. That's the real concern with these teams. But you can see how open these grills are. On the left side, pretty sealed off, but the right side, quite open, comparable to most cars we're seeing on the racetrack.
So you see right there, a little bit open. Now we'll come to the right. They expect this to be warmer. Now look at that top hose, 3-inch hose, completely wide open, the lower hose half open. So according to Marty, they pulled some tape, so that makes sense. There was probably a pull tab on the top that's been removed. But you see they already have split cooling because they have split expectation. Like, it's a very dynamic situation. And here's the thing. Could you run something that runs around here no problem without any issues? Probably so, but if you took that approach to every system in the race car, you would run 35th all day and be mad that you're just not fast enough. You have to push every system. The engine, the horsepower, the cooling, the brakes, the gearbox cooling, driver cooling. You gotta have to be uncomfortable because I can't give you extra power. Like, you have to take every 1, 2, 3% gain top to bottom in these systems if you expect to perform at the level that these teams perform at that win weekly.
We got word pit road will be open this time around, and it's going to be a short little run here to the finish of the opening stage.
And one of the things we talk about with this race car, you know, it is a lot of single source parts and so forth, and people might call it a bit of a kit car and whatnot, but there is a bunch of variety of things you can do for the brake package that will help braking and performance. So there's a lot of different routes for these teams to go, and we're seeing, again, who's chose the right way and who's chose incorrectly.
This is the time when you see a couple guys have issues. Who comes to pit road?
Hocevar?
Hocevar probably wants to pull a little tape.
Well, I was going to say, let's see what the 77 does, right? Because we saw it hot. We saw a lot of talk on the radio. So, Trevor, what are you hearing on the 77? Is this just a strategy call, or do they want to work on the front of that car, maybe the brake system?
You guys are right. They're coming down to pull some tape on that. Obviously, they'll take advantage of this pit stop here and get some fuel and tires. But, Steve, my question is, you're saying hot, cold, hot, cold. If you just run hot, you get a little pedal fade. It's not catastrophic. So how do you hit that fine line there?
Well, it really comes down to the whole combination, right? Like what pad is in there? Does it like to run hot? Does it like to run cold? Not all of them operate at the same temperature. But to your point, Trevor, at some point, running hot with pedal fade is better than a failure. Marty, what are you seeing? I see some work on the 60 as well.
Yeah, if you followed practice here on Prime, you heard about Ryan Preece having some issues with the brakes as well. There have been no issues with the brakes here in the race so far for the 60 car, but they have low water pressure. Steve, I just asked one of the Ford engine guys, what can you do about that? They said probably nothing. It's just something that Ryan Preece is going to have to deal with. So they're doing their best they can to do something underneath the right front and left front here to help out that engine issue for Ryan Preece.
Yeah, water pressure is measured as well as temperature, just because if you have like a pinhole in the system and you let the pressure out, you know, the temperature may not fluctuate as much. So as we go on board with the Celsius camera, looking back at Ryan.
He came in on the chase cut line, right? I mean, no margin for error for this team. How about this? We're going to do the choose. With 2 to go in the stage, that means 1 lap to decide who wins stage 1, and paying out those stage points here at Nashville. Blaney is the control car.
And he takes the bottom of the racetrack. All last year, the bottom was the preferred line for the control car in the first 2 stages of the race. Now, that may change late, but it'll be interesting to see if the 16 of AJ can do anything on the top of this racetrack. Last night in the Rally Series, the outside line did not do well when paired up in competition down into turn 1 to the inside line. We'll see what they can do tonight.
Saw 2 issues from Trackhouse with brakes. Let's listen to 97, the 3rd car.
Ross lost brakes against you guys. Well, now I'm worried about mine. You should be fine. They were a lot different than we were.
There you go. SVG says, well, man, now I'm worried about mine. My 2 teammates are out. Crew Chief Steven Reza, don't worry. We have something different, a lot different. We'll see if it works out for the 97. Great information, great radio.
He was 13th prior to the choose. He did get 4 tires when he pitted at lap 76. So in a pretty good position here when you talk about opportunity to gain some track position. 1 lap to decide stage 1 at Nashville. Front row, Blaney, Allmendinger. Here we go one more time in the Echo Park Automotive Restart Zone. I thought Blaney was going to get the jump. Here comes Allmendinger outside lane, and Larson getting it wound up off of turn 2.
Larson's going to have a little bit of run here. Could maybe go 3 wide. He's going to stay to the outside here, get outside of this 12-car Blaney down into turn 3. Can he get to the outside of the 16? He does. AJ, the 5 of Larson, into the lead. AJ's going to be able to side draft. Coming to the finish.
Gonna be a photo finish, it looks like, to finish stage 1. Inside lane, AJ Allmendinger with a rally. How about that finish? Larson second, Blaney, Elliott, Reddick, the top 5. I thought they were gonna be side by side, and AJ Allmendinger said, no, I'm gonna power by on the inside and get me a stage victory.
That's a good thing for the notes going forward on the control car for restarts. Do we need the outside? Is the inside where we want to be? I think Blaney would love to do that one over again. Great job by AJ to fire off and make it happen.
On the gamble of not pitting, right? He paid, his crew chief gambled, and AJ stuck up for him and won the stage.
When you stay out, you better make it pay off, and they do here. Tremendous effort for AJ Allmendinger, who gets his first stage win since 2024. NASCAR on Prime is brought to you by Cracker Barrel, Aspen Dental. Visit aspendental.com. Get smiling today. And by Brestree. Learn more at brestree.com. Riding on board here with Austin Dillon. Brestree onboard camera. Driver 3, 18th position. As we ride under caution after we wrap things up in a very exciting stage number 1.
I'm not sure it's an automatic must pit for some of these leaders. A.J. Allmendinger, who's last on pit road at 38, will absolutely be coming to pit road. Larson, though, at lap 76, took 4 tires, so he's in a great position to stay out. Blaney, Elliott on 2. I still think they're staying out. I think that was a commitment to come at 76. Here's Priest. We heard Marty mention that water pressure issue for the 60. You know, with a couple exploded rotors out there, broken brake parts and front radiators are bad combinations, so it wouldn't surprise me if they have a hole in the radiator on the 60.
Yeah, losing the appeal to the NASCAR appeal for the penalty from Texas. It's just been a couple of rough weeks for this team. Lost a substantial amount of points tonight as well. Kim.
You see A.J. Allmendinger coming in. He was kind of tight in the middle of that stage. Pretty quiet, though, there at the end. Great job hanging on old tires. They'll just work a little bit on air pressure adjustment for those 4 fresh Goodyear Sunoco fuel. You can see Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson both staying out, ultimately deciding to flip that stage. Trevor.
Chase Elliott getting some track position on 2 tires there, but said he was much tighter. You'll see 4 tires on the 9 car for this stop, guys.
You take the track position, you give it away. The juggling act for all these crew chiefs here tonight.
Let's get into our stage break, brought to you by Snapdragon. Danielle Trotta alongside Hall of Famer Mark Martin and NASCAR driver Corey LaJoie. Your pole sitter tonight, Denny Hamlin, went to first to last real fast, Mark, with a violation on the start. In all your years, Mark, have you ever seen a start to the race that egregious?
He missed it by 100 feet or more. it's amazing. Denny Hamlin never makes a mistake. I would be interested to see what Denny has to say about that, because either he thought the line was in a different spot than it was, or his head was somewhere else on the start of this race.
I don't know if it could have been painted any clearer across, and he clearly jumped. But it's a rare mistake when it comes to racing IQ with Denny, and it was certainly surprising to see. But I believe he'll rebound here soon enough.
Had to serve a pass-through penalty, went from 1st to 38th, did make up some ground in that first stage. He'll restart the second stage here in 15th. And right now, after a string of late cautions to end that stage, we're seeing tire strategy, Corey, all over the place.
Well, we hear Steve talk about it all the time about paying the fuel tax, right? You're going to fuel these cars up later and later to get a faster pit stop to get some track position. We're going to be having to pay in the tire tax. You're seeing a lot of these guys take rights. Probably you'll be able to put rights on it multiple times and keep old lefts. But eventually, Mark, you're going to have to get to the point where you need to put 4 on it to keep some fresh rubber on it. So paying the tire tax at the right time to allow you to recover is going to be the name of the game.
Yeah, you know, it's how the cautions fall too, you know, and how the strategy calls. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Somebody's going to come up short.
That's right.
Hey, Corey's driver to watch, Adam, before the start of this race was A.J. Allmendinger. He won the first stage, I want to point out, but Corey said you might have to pay that tire tax for the 16 here coming up to start stage 2.
I don't know. I'm sensing big flex out of Corey after his driver was able to get a stage win there. A lot going on when you look at the top 10 and the cycles and who's gotten 2 and who's gotten 4 and the last time everybody made a pit stop. But primarily all those guys up front last made a stop at lap 76. By the way, all 4 cars from 2311 got stage points in stage 1. Pretty remarkable.
Right on board with Denny Hamlin, the Coca-Cola cam here. Starting on the outside, you can start to see the front of the field here, working his way through.
Yeah, Danielle referenced it, 15 prior to the choose. Restart front row. Larson and Blaney. They're coming through the Echo Park Automotive restart zone, and here we go.
3 wide here with Briscoe down to the inside. Briscoe's going to clear into second place, up the racetrack in front of the 2, or the 12.
31st to 2nd for Chase Briscoe. Came in with no breathing room when you talk about the standings. A lot of stage points last week and getting it done early tonight.
He's one of the kings of the track tonight.
That was a one-up on LaJoy right there.
It was.
Yeah, poor Corey's off the
Look at these guys. The 67 of Heim, who just got his new deal. Driving the 97 up the racetrack. That was interesting. Denny around the top. Couple of spots right there. Off the top of turn 2, he's trying to get the inside of Joey down the back straightaway. Christopher Bell trying to recover from some issues on pit road.
Gibbs drivers facing adversity tonight, but both on the return to glory. You talk about Hamlin and Bell as Larson flashes across.
Corey Heim again, another spot around that 24. 54 of Gibbs and the 6 get together right here. Oh, a little tire rub.
Toyota Racing onboard camera saw the contact.
Y'all remember in Texas, Corey Heim getting up there leading some laps. Look at him now around the bottom of the racetrack. Denny Hamlin said this kid was special. We're seeing that tonight as he's driving through the top 10. The inside of Bubba Wallace right here.
Big announcement this weekend.
Yep.
Corey Heim going full-time Cup racing next year for 2311. And a good start to his future here tonight as he's up inside the top 10. Got those stage points, solid on the restart here.
His car owner back there, he must be enjoying what he's seeing out of this kid. Corey Heim, we all know that he's got a ton of talent, and it's just been difficult to get him the opportunities to get full time here for Toyota in the Cup Series, but that's going to happen next year. And in these opportunities that he gets to run this year, he is certainly making the most of it, showing everybody why he's getting these chances. Denny to the inside of SVG down the back straightaway. Denny now into the top 10, taking over 9th place here.
Denny exercising great patience tonight after the penalty. Hunt Brothers, local company, on board there with Joey Logano. Racing just outside the top 10.
I tell you, I really like what that 11 just did right there. The front of that car is working well enough. He rolls in the middle, turns down, and is able to run like a little bit of a mini diamond, like right there. Turn down and see him gas up. The front of this 11 car is positive enough that he can point it where he wants, but the back is secure enough to get on the gas. Let's see if he does it again right here in turn 1. He's going to run in the middle on entry. Oh, he does. He runs to the outside of the 24. Now watch this turn. He is just going to gas up. Stayed high that time, but that 11 car is running really well, Marty.
Steve, I'll tell you what, no panic from Denny Hamlin after that mistake at the very start of the race. Drove his way through the field very methodically, and just feedback to Chris Gale as we get to watch on that progressive onboard as we look back at Denny Hamlin. And for a guy who has not been happy, Junior, with his restarts lately, how about that one for Denny Hamlin? From 16th tonight, you can almost see this 11 car come to life the closer it gets to the front of the field.
Marty, that's an excellent point. Denny's talked about his restarts needing to be better, but he says that the car just isn't quite as comfortable as he'd like it to be for how it needs to be set up so that it runs well on the long run. So he gives up a little comfort on the first 4 or 5 laps so that his car's doing everything he wants it to do late. Well, tonight, it looks like he has it all. He has that short run speed, that fire off speed on restarts. We'll see how he does on the long run here throughout this portion of the race, but this 11 car looks like one of the ones to reckon with.
Tell you what, he's going to need after this race is some eye drops, because I don't think my man's blinked yet. I mean, look at this focus right here. I mean, look at that. I love night races with the clear visor. Those are some wide eyes and focus out of the 11 of Denny Hamlin.
I just think it would be easy when you do what he did at the start of this race to lose focus, get frustrated, and allow that to compound. And he didn't. He stayed patient, stays in the game, and now here they are.
Oh, I bet he's frustrated. I bet if we could somehow put a little mic on the self-talk. The self-talk was, I can't believe I just did this, right? There was nothing on the radio. There was no vocal complaint. We'll hear about it on his podcast Monday, but I guarantee he's going to say he was frustrated with his own mistake. He's the type of driver that owns up to it, asks himself what he can do, doesn't panic, and here he is 9th. You just can't shake him is really the problem.
Look at Denny working outside of Byron. Gets another spot up to 8th in the running order now.
Bell back in the top 10 as well, just behind the 24 here. Bell lost a ton of spots on pit road, but has a lot of speed in that car. He's been the one Gibbs driver that we haven't really talked about this year yet, as Toyota has seemed to dominate the series with this car. 2311, all the Joe Gibbs cars have been running up front in all these races, and he wants a piece of that. He wants to take advantage of that because he knows the competition, the Chevrolets, the Fords, they're all going to ebb and flow and get better and improve.
I just think about last week, though, a couple of issues for the 20. And both times they bounced back, finishes second in a rain-shortened event. I realize that's a long race, but once again, the 20 team is rallying. Larson leads Briscoe, Reddick, Blaney, and Jones in stage 2. 26 laps in, stage 2 at Nashville. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Born on the track, built for the street. Larson leading. Continues to be a nice climb for the Toyotas from Joe Gibbs Racing. Bell and Hamlin driving through the field.
Bell gets around Denny. Just a moment ago, takes his spot away, and a 19 of Briscoe running second, and a 20 of Christopher Bell. Denny's got a little work to do on the balance of this race car to be able to get up there and compete. Got to give a shout out to Larson, though, leading this race. We've talked about how good the Toyotas were. We talked about it in the pre-race, saying the Toyotas were the favorites. Larson said they looked like they made little gains last week at the 600, just weren't quite. Denny's talking about his balance, needing to turn a little bit better. But Larson said they were close. They just were just a turn or two off, just a little bit off of what they needed. And here they are, out there pacing the field, half a second ahead of Briscoe. Briscoe's closing the gap just a little bit. But this 5 car and the Chevrolet team with the new body, making the progress needed to be able to make a run at this championship this year and be able to go up there and compete for wins and take wins away from these Toyota teams.
50 laps led for Larson tonight. Now we go to our burn bar presented by Red Bull. Give us an update here, Steve.
Well, we talk a lot about miles per gallon and fuel conservation when it comes to driver, but pace has a lot to do this as well. So take a look at, you have Larson, the leader, on the top, 4.7 miles per gallon. Bubba Wallace burning much less fuel, 5.3 miles per gallon. That's purely pace driven. Larson on 4 tires, leading the race, is running on average 3 or 4 tenths of a second faster than Bubba Wallace. So, you know, if you want to be a glass half full guy and you get stuck back in traffic, sometimes you look at opportunities. You know, for Bubba, he needs to find some track position, make some adjustments, but also will probably need less fuel on the pit stop because he's just stuck in the back. You just can't burn the fuel when you don't have the clean air.
Larson around the top of turn 3 and 4. And the 19 of Briscoe around the bottom. Now it's 3 tenths of a second to the lead. It's 19's closing in. The 5 of Larson will have to look in the mirror, start to look at what line the 19 likes to run, start trying to take that line away a little bit. The spotters are giving him that information as well. This is where the 19's running. This is where he wants to be. This is where he's happy. He's going to try to run in that lane as he does right there, and the 19's not able to gain.
You know, he told us during the rain delay, Chase Briscoe did, results-wise, this has not been a good track for me. And even though they qualified on the pole last year, did not get the finish, never been in the top 15 here. But to start 31st, get stage points in stage 1, great call by James Small to establish some of that track position with a 2-tire stop. And now to basically be level on strategy and right here racing for the lead. Really, really good spot for driver 19 who tries to get on a heater over the summer.
Yeah, he's starting to use this car a little bit more. This Bass Pro Shops Toyota is starting to feel the effects of the dirty air behind this 5. He's got to be smart about where he places this car. What you got on the 5, Kim?
Yeah, the 5 of Kyle Larson, obviously on that 37 race winless streak, and I spoke specifically about that to crew chief Cliff Daniels, and he said, look, to be a team that wins and wins regularly, you need to be a 10 out of 10 in every category. So communication, consistency, car potential, pit crew, etc. Right now, he felt like they were at an 8.5 out of 10, but I got to tell you, tonight it feels like they're hitting on all cylinders and could be a 10 out of 10 here at Nashville.
You know, pretty scary when you think about where this team is, because we've been talking about doom and gloom, not performing where you want, the losing streak and all that stuff. The reality is now they're up to 6th in points, right around that spot where you feel like you need to be for the reset to make a move, and performing at a higher and higher level. We discussed their thought process on how things went down a week ago, leading laps here tonight, and really starting to put themselves in position. But major company here as Briscoe continues to knock on the door and now making a run to the inside for the race lead.
5 car just struggling with the balance on the long run here. Still a little work to do to try to get that car comfortable for him. I think the 19 is going to take this spot easily. Nope. Larson's going to stay right there. Side draft down the straightaway here, drawing even. Carries the momentum down the front straightaway. Briscoe tries to slow him down a little bit with the side draft there. Off into turn 1 and 2. Briscoe going to try to wrap around this corner right at the apron. Not able to throttle up right there on the inside of the 5. The 5 can finish the throttle, carry that momentum down the back straightaway. The 19 tippy toes into the corner, doesn't want to get loose or push up into the 5, right here into the throttle and clears easily.
I love that tippy toe, man. It's something we can all relate to. Just delicately dance around the competition.
If you carry it down, if you carry the car down in the corner too deep on the inside and you have a bobble, you don't have a lot of room before you get up into the car on the inside or on the outside of you. And here's Corey Heim, Eric Jones.
I'm going to have to tip of the hat to Eric Jones. I know Heim's going by him here, but you mentioned Dover and the guys that ran well at Dover, and Legacy was right up there, and I wasn't sure because it was a different tire. I know it's banked and it's concrete, but Eric Jones, 6th. This is a really, really good run right here for Legacy.
I mean, Jones last year finished 7th and ran over 100 laps inside the top 10, and here he is doing things solid again tonight. Marty, what do you have for us?
Christopher Bell storming his way through the field, restarted 14th up to 7th. Adam been one of the top 3 fastest cars pretty much this entire run. So Steve, after that last bad pit stop by the 20 crew, after 2 bad pit stops last week, Adam Stevens told his guys, listen, I'm trying to imagine a scenario where we don't shoot ourselves in the foot and don't finish 25th tonight. So, Steve, they're coming up to the stop here in the middle of stage 2. How do you whip your guys into shape but not get them too down on themselves, knowing it's been a rough couple of weeks for that 20 pit crew?
Well, at this point, you hope that they can just kind of move forward with it. It's all about preparation, opportunity, figure out what you had wrong. The mistake they had earlier, I couldn't tell if it was human or mechanical, but you just got to trust them. This is that time where it is a total team sport. You're going to need a clean stop.
.50 laps to go, stage 2 at Nashville. Chase Briscoe leading. Let's get our Napa know-how moment. Back to the initial start of the race.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin jumps the start before the restart zone, and NASCAR quickly said that's a no-no. So here you see the launch. He has to come to pit road and give up not only the lead of the race, but shotgun on the field, and he drove all the way back into the 8th position right here. Still a lot of race left for him to be able to drive through the rest of the field, but I think he's got to work on the car just a little bit, Steve. not quite as competitive, I think, as he wants to be.
I agree. And what happens is when you lose that track position, you just don't have the time to work on your car in clean air like you normally would as the leader. But somehow, I'm not sure how you're going to get blamed for that penalty. But
I know.
Me? Well, what would you need to go to the back? What was the question? What would the bonus have to be?
What would you need to get paid to go shotgun on the field and drive through it for the win? He said double the purse. He'd go to the back.
Well, I'm telling you right now that if he wins,
I was trying to wheel that into the universe. Maybe one of these days.
Well, if he wins and on the start-finish line, he says, Dale, you said what it was. You're on hook for double the purse. I want to see how this goes down.
How about this race for the runner-up spot? Tyler Reddick, quiet tonight. Whoa, and here he comes.
Yeah,
driving up alongside Larson.
Yeah, 40 laps on this run, 46 laps on the tires, 46 laps to go. So if you think you can't run long on these right side tires, you're going to come right here and split it in the middle. You just saw how tough that pit entry was. Reddick made it look very easy, though, Trevor.
Yeah, guys, Tyler Reddick on the radio saying he can notice that the track is starting to free up. 1 to 2 numbers free here. They're going to tighten them up with some air pressure, 4 tires and fuel. And they'll see if they made the right adjustments for the green flag stop here, Steve.
Yeah, the balance, as you and I have talked, not only as the track cools, does it get freer, as we see now, Larson on pit road as well, but on green flag stops, because you go right back on the track at speed, the car is normally looser anyway. Kim, the right rear tire in the 5, looks like he had a little scuff with the wall maybe.
Yeah, and he told the team he felt like he used up the right rear. They're going to take 4 fresh Goodyear tires, 1 can of Sunoco fuel. You see Eric Jones right there. He started out tight, but then said free towards the end of that run, just losing grip, Marty.
Jim Bubba Wallace did a nice job hanging in the top 10. He said the rear end, quote, felt shaky, and I just don't have the juice at the end of the run. 4 tires, and everyone talking about how free the track is getting, Kim.
As we talk free, that is also the case for Chase Briscoe. Said freer pitting this time. Obviously came down. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. Sunoco fuel. Marty.
Tim, what a run for Denny Hamlin from shotgun on the field, as Junior and the boys just talked about in the booth. Coming down pit road now, Hamlin said, I'm too tight early and middle of the corner, but I cannot be any freer on exit. Don't hurt my exit. 4 fresh Goodyear tires as the green flag cycle continues with 44 to go in stage 2.
Bottom view of your screen, the 19 of Briscoe was the leader at the start of the cycle. We're going to see right here if Larson is going to be able to make up any time. I think Briscoe's going to keep the lead through the cycle right here. It's going to be about a half a straightaway back to the 5, so no harm, no foul. A little less concern at a track where you don't lose so much speed on old tires. You can run a lap longer, a couple laps longer, and kind of hold your spot. You still can't have issues on pit road, and I think that's really the focus. Reddick doing a nice job right here. He's kind of closed into the back of the 5.
Bell had cycled to second. He comes to pit road. Blaney now scored as the race leader. Hocevar is second. You know, Hocevar, an interesting study. He had pitted at lap 87, and he stays out to run long.
He just
and
pulled
now
on the pit road, yeah. Riley Herbst also on the pit road.
And it wouldn't shock me if Blaney, who's still running very good lap times, tries to run this really far into the run, setting up 2 tires at the end of the stage. The concern is just that right front tire wear. Will it wear out or will it not? On board with the 35, Trevor.
Yeah, one of the few cars that was tight this run was Carson Hocevar in for 4 tires and fuel as well.
Oh, trouble on the left rear for Hocevar. Much like the 20 car not jacked up enough. You wonder with those bumps in turns 3 and 4 if you have to run the suspension where that left rear maybe droops, falls out a little bit further than you do at other times. Let's take a look at this. Right side looks good. They come around. Let's see if the jack goes on normal. It does. Kind of a short pump. The left front goes on. The left rear won't. So they had to give a little bit more help with the jack. Certainly, like, the smoother the racetrack, the more aggressive you can be with how quick those tires get pulled up by the suspension. A rougher racetrack at times, you have to have them, you know, hang out a little bit lower, and sometimes you just forget about that when it comes to
we got to spin down the front straightaway. The 3 of Austin Dillon's turned around. No contact so far. Everybody's able to avoid.
Caution out for the 5th time tonight.
Yeah, big break, too, for Blaney and Elliott and some of these cars that have yet to come to pit road.
That started because cars were trying to get to pit road. So let's take a look at this. Cars were trying to get to pit road. This right here, the 6 has to avoid. He checks up. Here comes all of these cars. The 3 comes down across the nose of the 17, gets turned. So all that, as we have cars trying to get to pit road, it's so difficult to get onto this pit road. The transition is so rough. You have to slow the car down, and then oncoming traffic has to avoid. And that was Brad Keselowski. So he checks up and creates quite a bit of confusion for a lot of other folks here.
Heading right here, all clear, inside. All clear.
So he saw the 6 kind of coming down in front of him, and you can hear him starting to get out of the gas a little bit. Busher doesn't know that and runs into him and spins him around. Just unfortunate situation there.
But I think about how bad this could have been. A lot of cars here. You go through the grass after all the rain, right? So, there's a whole lot of things that could have gone really, really bad, made it a lot worse. And overall, Dylan able to get away without hitting the wall.
Now you will follow Joey, get an arc here, get a big run.
Trimble on board camera.
The 47 moved down the track like, hey, I'm going to pit.
I come up. All clear. Nobody wave there. Come on, runs, Brad, on the bottom, inside, he's there.
So TJ screaming at Brad. So the 47's down the racetrack on the back straightaway. Sometimes drivers will do that to be like, hey, I'm pitting. I'm moving down here, and this is unusual. That's a signal that I'm coming to pit road. Well, Brad didn't really pick up on that. TJ wants a wave or somebody up on the spotter stand to say, hey, we're coming to pit road. He doesn't get that either. So just a little bit of a miscommunication.
Only 8 cars on the lead lap, being in the middle of the cycle. The 12 of Blaney, currently the leader. You're going to see the 9 of Chase Elliott probably also will come to pit road. Yeah, big gap between them. So only 8 cars. Kim.
And for Ryan Blaney, he actually said he was tighter overall this run, but the entry did get a little bit free towards the end. Tires and fuel for the 12 car.
Chase Elliott telling Alan Gustafson that he could overheat either end of the car on the tires. He could either make the car tight, he can make it loose. So he was kind of confused on what to do. Also having a little bit of radio issue there hearing his crew chief. Michael McDowell having a quiet day. Chose to stay out there even though he had some of the most laps on his tires. Last pitted at lap 87 before this one. They gambled a little bit, and it's paid off here, guys, with the caution coming out.
A couple of laps shy of halfway in the Cracker Barrel 400, 5th caution of the night.
Yeah, right in the middle of the pit cycle, you see the stack up on the front stretch. We're going to let scoring reset and update the running order when we return of just who got back on the lead lap.
With no power comes no responsibility. Nicolas Cage's Spider Noir. All episodes available only on Prime Video. Let's head to the pit lane, get our Cracker Barrel Pit Road report.
Tyler Reddick, one of those drivers having to take the wave around after pitting just before that caution. We saw him trying to pass Kyle Larson for second just before he hit pit road. When he came back out on the track, he was about 10 car lengths behind Kyle Larson. Most of that time, Tyler feels like, was getting on to this challenging pit lane that Dale talked about in the opening of the race. He told his team, I need more help. Tell me what I need to do to get on to pit road, Kim.
Corey Heim doing a great job tonight, currently slotted in the 13th position, but was running right around the top 5 for much of the beginning of this race. Just starts off tight and then it comes to him, he said. But remember, he signed that full-time Cup ride deal that starts next year, calling this a notebook year. And he told me, look, I've had times in my career where I've been too afraid to make a mistake and have actually slowed down my learning that way. That is not going to be the case, even though eyes are on me now with this full-time Cup ride next season. It is still very much a notebook year, and I am trying to learn as much as I can. Marty?
Well, Kim, look who is in 5th. Daniel Suarez, after the win at Charlotte last week, and the call by Ryan Sparks, made the call here to run long, got the caution that they needed, and Daniel really wanted that pit stop because he wanted to undo the changes they made last time. He said the car just had a really rough ride on that last run, so the caution fell in their favor, undid the changes that what Suarez wanted, and now he sits here in 5th.
Suarez, one of those 8 cars that was still out when the caution waved, so he's able to get his pit work. And we had those 8 cars on the lead lap. Free pass here went to Chase Briscoe. He is on the lead lap. 22 others wave around to the lead lap, Steve.
And a huge break for Briscoe. So you mentioned it. There's 8 cars that, really hit the bingo card. But then Briscoe should be tail end because he's the wave around. But you see him, 5th row outside. So why is he not tail end? Well, because the wave around cars will line up behind a tail end car. Well, that is basically the entire field. So Briscoe gets the free pass and track position. Pretty good luck for who was the leader at the beginning of the cycle.
And A.J. Allmendinger won that stage. He's restarting inside the top 5. Blaney in control through the Echo Park Automotive restart zone. Nice jump for the 12. Michael McDowell up there getting racy in the 71. Good track position for Chase Elliott. He's 2nd as the restart cycles out.
Larson back there grabbed a couple spots, went 3 wide between Briscoe and Ty Dillon. Now we're 3 wide down the front straightaway. McDowell, his teammate Suarez. Suarez is staying in this race. And this is what this guy does. He didn't look that great, faded to the backside of the top 10. A lot of contact right there to the outside. But he stays in the battle.
Win last week, top 10 in points. He'd love some stage points here, and 33 laps away from getting him. When you think about where he was prior to the cycle, 30th in the running, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And Marty gave the report, but he's now right back in the game.
A.J. and McDowell arguing a little bit right there. I don't think A.J. is very happy with how McDowell ran him on the exit of turn 2. A.J. keeps him tight here.
How about the 41 of Cole Custer behind these two? It's been a frustrating year for this organization, and here they are inside the top 10 trying to make a good run here at Nashville. Just in front of him, that 34 of Todd Gilliland also hasn't just had the year he's looking for. We talked about Zane Smith running great last week. Well, that's Todd's teammate. When he sees that great run out of the 38, they want their kind of time in the sun.
Front row's got to win this weekend. Lane Riggs got it the other night.
That's right.
Truck Series event. Last lap pass of Raja Karuth. We congratulate him and Justin Allgaier, who won the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race here yesterday evening.
Let me give you a broken record. Congrats, Dale. Great run on Saturday. Man, you guys are unbelievable this year.
Let's try to keep it going.
Win number 10. It's great leadership at JRM. Denny Hamlin trying to drive back through. 13th and looking for more, going middle of 3 wide.
The moves you got to make is try to drive through this field. Just a few laps left before the end of the stage, so you got to make hay while the sun's up and while the air's dirty. Take advantage of people who are struggling back in this traffic. And the guys that know how to put their cars in the right spots to get the air they need to be quick and comfortable, those are the ones that can drive this car, this next-gen car, through this traffic the best.
quiet day for Ty Gibbs. I thought this 54 really stood out in practice. Now, I know a million things have happened with cautions and cycles and strategies and all that, but I just had, you know, that 54 just really hasn't emerged. Now, there's no reason for it to happen in the first half if they can get it figured out. We'll see if they can. Still 144 to go in the entire race.
Two good young drivers from Toyota going at it there as Heim was racing with Gibbs. Eric Jones not going away in a 43.
Bell is going to, I thought Bell's going 3 wide here, Steve. He thought about it. Denny's going to clear down the front straightaway. Bell's trying to get to the right side of this 43 car of Jones.
Think of those closing laps a week ago. It was the 11 and the 20 that just couldn't get
20
it
to
sorted
the outside.
out. Yeah.
Denny's going to have to give him the room. It's a Dollar Tree Toyota, the 43 car of Eric Jones. Now here comes Heim to the inside, joining this battle.
4 Toyotas, 3 different organizations. Joe Gibbs Racing, Legacy, and 2311. And all levels of strategy, all levels of experience. Playing the game here, middle stages at Nashville.
And I love when you start to see local partners on cars at 67 have Chiefs on the hood. Eric Church's bar down on Broadway. We see Tootsie's on SVG's car. It's great when we come to market, especially a monster market like Nashville. And you see those bars advertising here in the races. I did not go do any research at Chiefs or Tootsie's on this trip.
Heim's going to clear in front of that 43. Eric Jones right back to the outside, though. Carl and Jimmy Johnson's got to be proud to see the fight in that 43 car. They had the speed. Just going to be able to try to get that track. It's going to be a track position game. The cars with that type of speed, if they can get that track position late, they'll get a great result. Battle up here.
Somewhere Corey LaJoie is smiling. When he said my king of the track is going to be A.J. Allmendinger. And they're like, hey, okay, that's going out on a limb. That's getting gutsy. He wins the stage, and here he is running third. This is impressive stuff for Colleague.
McDowell trying to get by the teammate Suarez for fourth. He's going to do it down here in turn 3 and 4.
I ran into Bill Anthony, president of Spire Motorsports, today down in the garage, and we talked about that big win a week ago for the 7, and he was quick to remind me that McDowell was 1 position away at the road course. If it wasn't for SVG, they'd have a win with all 3 cars. Then he added, a lot of guys could say that about SVG at the road course, is just so good there, but now here's McDowell up inside the top 5. This Spire team is the real deal. A couple wins and consistently running inside the top 10.
McDowell ran inside the top 10 last year here at this race, multiple laps throughout the race, so no surprise.
24 laps to go. Stage 2, Blaney, Elliott, Allmendinger, Suarez, and the aforementioned McDowell, the top 5. Back at Nashville, let's do our all-day value presented by IHOP. The focus, race leader Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, Ryan's really impressed tonight. But we saw this last year. Didn't start up toward the front of the field, used some strategy to get the track position, but then dominated the rest of the race to the win. And tonight, you know, we've talked all about how great the Toyotas are. Well, so far, Chevrolets have led this race, and now this Ford of the 12-car Blaney is leading this race as well. So they have brought the fight tonight. It's going to be tough for some of these Toyotas to be able to get up there and battle and take these spots away. Blaney has drove away from Chase Elliott, and Chase Elliott has quite the lead on the third-place car of A.J. Allmendinger. So good speed out of both those cars tonight.
Blaney won Stage 2 a year ago when he pulled into victory lane. And a win tonight for Blaney would be victory number 750 all-time for Ford. So a high water mark on the line here for the manufacturer, but a long way to go. Going to be 15 laps remaining Stage 2 this time around.
This onboard camera really shows the color change. So down the straightaway you see pretty clean concrete. Watch when we go down. Really, in 3 and 4 is crazy dark. Down here, you know, there's a little bit right here in the middle of the corner. You kind of see that smeared rubber where the car really gets tight. That's where the front end's loaded. Down here in 3 and 4, though, it just jumps right off the page for me. That thing's starting to take some really good rubber. That might be why some of these cars are starting to move up. Obviously, Blaney not right around the bottom. See the gear on the bottom left, 4th is up to 5th. Shift about every lap here at Nashville.
Good little bundle of cars right here battling for 8th. You got Suarez in 6th, 7th, Gilliland, and then the 8th place car of Larson, who's got the momentum off the top of the racetrack. And then Christopher Bell, he just passed Briscoe. We saw that a moment ago. So he's trying to grab a couple more spots right here. It's going to be on the inside of Larson down the front straightaway.
A couple of dirt trackers here finding their way. Now the caution is out, 6th of the night.
Oh, man.
And problems for Allmendinger, who was 3rd and having such a great evening.
It's like another brake issue.
Man, that thing.
Yeah, you got fire on the right front,
hard.
so get it down there and get it hard.
Having such a great run tonight.
Yeah, won Stage 1. He was running inside the top 5 here. Just the stage points alone were going to be a huge, huge bonus for this 16. See the steering wheel off. Window net not down yet. Oh boy.
No. Man, that's tough to watch.
Oh. Wow, what a huge impact for A.J. Allmendinger. Big, big hit.
Caution comes out with 12 to go, Stage 2.
We heard SVG talk about his concerns when he learned of his 2 teammates as we see AJ get out of the race car under his own power.
I don't see anything on the radio where he references what happened. I'm with you, Dale. It looked very similar to both of the rotor failures we've seen so far. Kim, what are you hearing about the 16?
Well, I talked to crew chief Trent Owens earlier in the day just about brakes and the possibility of failures, and he said we were concerned about overheating the brakes. So they did open up the brakes to have more cooling than they did in practice yesterday. He also told me that they had a different pad package. They went with the more aggressive pad package. So maybe those 2 things contributing to what we're seeing on the 16 right now.
So SVG talked about being worried about his teammates, right? Oh man, now I'm nervous. Everybody in the field is seeing what's going on. This is creeping into all the drivers' minds about, hey, what's going on out there? Why are we seeing all of this? What can you tell me about my car to give me the confidence that I'm not going to have that same issue?
The one thing different about this, and I think that's why he hit so hard, is this one looks a little later. So let's go back to that head-on shot. Remember, the others came when we thought we had onboards. We could still hear them on the throttle. Right there, you see the fire out the pipes. If we back it up a little bit from there, we keep backing up, right? And as it rolls forward nice and slow, you see the fire out the pipes of the car behind them. I think you're going to see fire out the pipes of AJ. Well, it's about the same time he lifts. I was wondering if he had lifted first or not. The reason I say that is because I think if you are still on the gas when the rotor fails, that tells me it's overcooled. If he had lifted, stepped on the brake pedal, and it had failed. Let's listen in. That one's hard to tell. The others I thought were clear that they were still on the gas. That might be a little later. So I don't know what it is as far as too warm, too cold, but I do believe it has every look of another failed right front brake rotor.
Let's get an update. Shane Van Gisbergen, Marty.
To Junior's point about SVG maybe not being worried about the brakes earlier in the race, and Stephen Dorn said, hey, we're running a different brake pad package than our other teammates did. Just now under this caution, Junior, SVG said the pedal is going long now, and then it completely locks the rears on entry, snapping loose handling-wise exit as well. But yes, now voicing concern in that 97 camp about his brakes as well.
Now imagine having that going on inside the car and knowing you got to drive this thing wide open down the next straightaway and commit to running the lap time, and hoping that when you get to the end of the front stretch, you don't blow a rotor and go into the wall. That is the life of a race car driver.
Oof.
And there's nights like tonight where it will stress you out. And you're seeing these things happen to driver after driver. We went through something kind of similar years ago with the tire wars, and you'd see guys that go out there and run and blow right front tires, and you're thinking, man, I hope that doesn't happen to me. It seems like it's almost a lottery, but it's in some of these drivers' minds, especially the ones that have been around these cars when they've blown those rotors. I mean, Michael McDowell sits right there and watches AJ go into the wall in front of him. You certainly have to imagine that that's going to creep into his mind just a little bit about, that becoming an issue that he'll have to deal with at some point.
And still a long way to go tonight. Scan the QR code to shop Logitech G's newest products and hottest deals. Logitech G, the official wheel and pedal of NASCAR.
Yeah, there's some drivers that will tell you, man, I can block it out. It ain't gonna happen to me. We all do that about danger and bad crashes and all that stuff. But part failures are a bit of a different deal. You feel like you're in control of keeping yourself out of trouble or bad wrecks, but part failures are something that as a driver you don't feel like you got a lot of control over.
And as a crew chief, you have a lot of anxiety there because you and your driver, you're a team in this, and you don't want to have a mechanical failure. But like I said earlier, I just want to be clear. You just can't be ultra conservative, because then your driver's going to lose his mind because he's going to be slow. Like you just, to your point, Dale, you have to be uncomfortable with the risk you're willing to take inside the car. As a crew chief, at times you have to be very uncomfortable with what you're trying to push these cars to the limit, because it is an absolute contest of speed. And you have a lot of races where you hear brake vibration and brake complaints and nothing happens.
Yep.
So then you go 10 weeks with that, and then all of a sudden now we have a race where we are having these brake issues, and you're like, man, I wish I would have took those comments in practice maybe a little more seriously,
yeah,
or had a different opinion on it.
It also matters how old you are. A lot of the 20-year-old guys out there, they're not thinking about their brakes. They're just driving. But the guys that are like 35, 40, 45 years old, they're going, that's a pretty serious situation. I think I don't need to be a part of that. But so it affects everybody a little bit differently.
Monster onboard Riley Herbst. Makes me think about that ending to stage one when 2311 got all four of their cars some stage points. And we're going to have a wild ending to stage two as well, with a caution coming out here. 12 laps to go and a short run to finish it. And I think we're going to get our money's worth again.
That's right. And more crazy opportunities, to your point, to try different things with tire strategy and all that. It's just good. There's so much churn with the field over strategy and what to do, and we're going to see that again at the end of this stage.
Well, here we are. Green light is on, pit road is open. So how do you manage this situation and then the setup for that final stage? Some drivers staying out, a lot of them coming down pit road, Kim.
And a lot of conversation on Ryan Blaney's radio on what they thought the field was going to do, especially if they came. Ryan reporting started to build a little bit free. They told them keep it head on a swivel, which makes me think that they're going to do 4 tires and just watching for traffic on pit road. Trevor.
Tyler Reddick was able to move from 12th all the way up to 4th over that last run, passing the most cars, really getting that top working, improving that out just a little bit tight up there. Chase Elliott happy with their last change, wants a little bit more of that. And Michael McDowell battling the tight condition as well. He also liked moving up the racetrack and found a little speed there, guys.
A nice handful of drivers stay on the racetrack. McDowell the first off. He goes +2 with 2 tires. Briscoe takes 2 as well. All those guys up front taking 2 tires. We'll reset the running order, get a big restart when we come back. Caution number 6 of the night for A.J. Allmendinger. Aerial coverage tonight brought to you by Goodyear, born on the track, built for the street. Going to be a fun run to the finish, stage 2 in the Cracker Barrel 400. Top 6 stayed out. Next 6 got 2 tires. The first on 4, Chase Elliott in the 9. He was 13th prior to the choose.
77 Hocevar has to go to the rear for over the wall too soon on pit road.
Suarez, good on those restarts late in the Coke 600 at a tire deficit, hangs on, gets the win. When the rains come, we'll see if he can hold them off here and get a stage victory. Green flag will go in the air with 4 to go in the second stage. To his right is Alex Bowman. Stenhouse up there. Haven't called his name much tonight. Austin Cindric trying to make something happen. Came into this race just below the chase cut line. He could use some stage points.
4 wide with Blaney, Chase, SVG a big slide, and a battle at the front between the 47 and the 48.
Clean air for Suarez. 3 to go, stage 2. Ryan Sparks doing it again. Magical call in the 600.
Oh, we got a car spinning off into the wall in the middle of 1 and 2.
That's Heim in the 67.
Yeah.
Gilliland and Custer involved. Caution number 7. Likely going to be the end to our second stage, and this will work out really, really well for Daniel Suarez.
Yeah, it's just a 34 caught our tail, looks like on the left side.
34, Todd Gilliland got turned around there and backed into the wall, and it's like a little bit of damage, or a good amount of damage to the nose of the 67 here. So 3 wide into the turn. Heim gets into the back of him pretty hard right there on entry. That's big contact for the right front of the 67, so Heim's day is going to be a struggle going forward. This is on board Ty Gibbs.
They were racing around 15th when it got away from them.
Yeah, I don't know if it was on purpose or misjudgment, but without a doubt the 67 causes the accident, kind of runs over the 34. I can't imagine he did it on purpose. Most race car drivers are good enough that if they know they're going to ship somebody into the corner, they don't get into the wreck themselves. Tells me that maybe he just got a little stacked up there.
Yeah, SVG on the restart. Dives to the inside right here pretty late, makes contact with Todd. And that had Todd kind of on a spiral to the back of the field. Maybe the left rear tire was down or coming or going down, and the 38 was slowing down a little bit too soon for the entry to turn 1. Trevor's found A.J. Allmendinger after that crash he just had. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, A.J. Allmendinger here with me. We said this only happens on days when things are going pretty good, but what'd you feel? What do you think is contributing to these brake issues?
Felt nothing until it exploded. No warning signs. Felt like our Spire Academy, Venture HR, it was cool to bring a new sponsor into NASCAR and giving them a great run. But, yeah, brakes weren't soft or anything like that, and didn't think I was overusing them. I think it's more horsepower, low downforce. I guess we're using more brake than in the past, but, yeah, it sucks. We're having a good day.
Thanks, AJ.
AJ just confirmed, more horsepower means you accelerate more. The low downforce is one thing, but what comes with that is low drag. So what I mean is there's just not a lot of aero kind of braking. When you lift, the car really wants to roll off into the corner, so you have to use the brakes more. And I just think ahead, St. Louis. I mean, there's some tracks that have been, I would say this is on the list, but St. Louis is probably the top of the tracks that have brake issues.
St. Louis is much worse. Teams will all be studying and trying to science out what they need to not have this issue continue at that particular racetrack.
Caution number 7 does end the stage. Suarez gets the green and white checkered flag, his first stage victory in a couple of years. Bowman, Stenhouse, Cindric, Hamlin all getting points. And when you look at the cycle and where everybody is and when they made their last pit stop, guy's going to be in a really good spot here, I think. Denny Hamlin, who started on the pole and has gradually worked his way back to the front. Entertaining stage 1 and stage 2. Final stage on the way. We're live in Nashville. It's NASCAR on Prime. Glad you're with us. NASCAR on Prime, brought to you by Chili's, Hims Healthcare designed for you and delivered to your door, and by Logitech G, official wheel and pedal of eNASCAR. Getting ready for the final stage, Nashville Superspeedway. And we've had a lot of action on track tonight.
We were wondering if the 34 maybe had a tire going down. It seems to me that 67 just overcommitted to the corner. Let's listen to the radio.
Yeah, it sucked, guys. Sorry, just another big mistake on my part. Just gotta stop doing that. It's all right. We'll see what we can do here.
That's Corey Heim just saying a big mistake on his part. Obviously, he's going to have to find Todd this week. He's going to be in this series for a long time. Those two youngsters are going to race each other a lot, so those things end up happening. Kim.
And for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the complaint all night has been no rear grip, front plowing every time they've come down to adjust. Still hasn't alleviated the problem. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Snow-Go fuel. Trevor.
Alex Bowman in that 48 using a little strategy to get those stage points. Coming in for 4 tires now, though. That earlier strategy's already paid off, Marty.
Boy, some much-needed stage points for Austin Cindric, who fell out of a chase spot for the first time in 4 weeks after Charlotte. Daniel Suarez, what a call. And it, I know you gave Adam credit to Ryan Sparks. That was Daniel Suarez's call to be able to stay out there and get those stage points by winning the stage. They are going to take a long time here, Steve. Suarez very worried about his brakes. In fact, he said, I'm nervous about the brakes. And Ryan Sparks said to him, Steve, I can't overcool the rotors, but I can help you and try and cool the calipers a little bit.
We've had a record number of lead changes here tonight. Our most recent lead change puts Denny Hamlin back on point when we return.
Getting ready for the final stage here at Nashville Superspeedway. We know here it's all about concrete. We see a lot of cautions, and tonight, guys, a lot of carnage. The Cup Garage, a lot of torn up cars just to our left. I said, Corey, what's that smell? He said, that is burnt carbon fiber. Why so much chaos tonight?
Well, we got brake debacles, we've got tire different strategies. I just love seeing a guy from New Zealand driving a Tootsie's car at Nashville Superspeedway, running to the top 5 in Shane Van Gisbergen. Fire me up, Mark Martin.
Man, we got accidents too. You know, some restarts and untimely cautions, trapping cars laps down, behind and having to take the wave around. So, you know, there's all kinds of action going on out
Oh,
here.
and we've already have set a record number of passes tonight, Adam. A record number of lead changes here entering the final stage.
It's been a fun night, and we got some good stuff coming. Just over 100 laps to go. Final stage, front row. Denny Hamlin, Michael McDowell.
One car in the apron back there making moves. I had a little giggle because it was a 77 of Hocevar, not a big shocker. Trying to be aggressive.
Right on cue.
I love it. Look, if you're a fan, this is a guy you can cheer for because he's on the go pedal all the time.
3 wide. Herbst in the middle, outside Zane Smith. 77 making it work.
Oh, the 4 of Gregson up the racetrack.
Boy, he hangs on to it, but look
Whoa, the
here
6
comes
of Brad
Jim.
Keselowski. The 2 of Cindric as well.
Caution number 8. 2 Fords taken out in this one. Brad Keselowski and Austin Cindric. Corey and Mark just talking about.
The 3 just wrecked you on purpose. He's mad from earlier.
There we go.
This TJ Majors a spotter for Brad.
Yeah, that wasn't our fault.
I can't wait to see a replay.
No, man.
We'll let you know.
Curiosity is building here.
We'll determine who's at fault here. So the 4 gets shoved up the racetrack by the 47 there. Big chain of events there. So the 3, I think the 6 lifted to get him behind the 10, and the 3 runs over him accidentally, and kind of similar to what happened to the 3. He gets out of the gas, and Buescher runs over him accidentally. So just all these cars getting stacked up. Brad gets out of the gas because of the contact with the 10. Brad's like, all right, let's just all get through this. But the 3 run over him. I don't think it was intentional, but
2 outside, 2 still middle, 2 outside.
watch his contact with the 10, and he's trying to get out of that situation.
I mean, look at Brad Keselowski and Cindric. And both of them, you know, just playing right around that chase cut line. Cindric came in below, but was gaining ground with Preece out of the race. Keselowski came in just outside the top 10, but showing 13th as they run on track. Gosh.
That's a pretty hard contact right there.
Big time.
For Brad into the side of the 2, gets whipped around. Listen to this.
Line up top. 3 bottom. Stay bottom.
I mean, he's out of the gas.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's an intentional.
I agree. I know it looks intentional, but
it looks avoidable. But I don't know that it was truly him, you know, going after Brad, trying to wreck him.
I don't think he would have been out of the gas. I think he could have just stayed in the gas and accomplished the same thing.
Yeah.
Depending on which driver's T-shirt you've bought, will probably tell you which opinion, and that's totally fair. But I'm with you, Dale.
Or which radio you're listening to.
Yeah, you know, I think it's. These are the days. Jimmy Johnson, I thought, put it so well when he voiced over the chase piece in that pre-race about what it is with the pressure. And I mark my words. These are the days you are going to remember a few months from now. When you look back, you're going to think that day we were having at Nashville where we got up in the wreck. And we haven't seen, this is the regular season. A lot of these drivers have no idea what it feels like. Dale, you and I have done it. When you get to the chase and you know you have 70 days, you have 10 weeks, every lap, every point, every stage, there's no there's no resets, there's no freebies. It's everything. The pressure in the chase, I feel, is going to be higher than the old playoff format. These drivers know everything matters. Let's hear the 3 and what he says.
He hung a hard lap. It's pretty obvious, so hopefully they see it. I mean, he flat out dumped us. Be mad at us for what the 47 did, but I hope he gets a week off.
Sorry, that was the 6 radio. That was TJ politicking.
Yeah, I know they're upset and they feel like that was intentional, but I don't know that they'll win that argument with all the evidence I've seen.
I don't think you're done discussing that one this week.
Yeah. No, me and TJ will talk about it on the download Tuesday. We'll put TJ to task to make his case. Ouch.
Oof. Be a lot of debate about this one. I stand with your original thought, though, Dale. From what I hear out of the three, I don't think he turned down there to get him on purpose. I really don't. If he did, then he's really good at leaving some probable doubt. How about that?
Yeah.
Here's what we were talking about, guys. And, you know, you think about it, if you're Brad Keselowski, you come in 11th down to 13th. Ryan Preece is hanging on despite the fact he's out of the race, and he's helped here by the fact that Cindric is involved in this accident. And I look at Briscoe. He's still 15th. He hasn't gained as far as positions go, but he's really gained when you look at points in relation to those around him.
And you have Logano in 18th right there. He's running 21st. Can they come up with something to grab some spots tonight, like they do from time to time, to get himself a top 10 and close the gap a little bit?
And if you look over on the right side, it gives you a little bit of a cheat sheet of what the reset will look like. And we've kind of drawn an imaginary line below 6th.
Yep.
Because all those guys are going to be within 50 points of the leader at the reset. And we feel like mathematically, and if you run all the simulations, that's the sweet spot on those that really have an opportunity. As Steve said, over 70 days, those 10 weeks to go out and make something happen.
Yeah, look, if you have a Tony Stewart chase, you're going to win 5 races. A Jimmy Johnson from 2007 chase, I think you can win it from way down the standings. But I'm listing perhaps the 2 most impressive runs ever in that format, right? It's going to have to be a monumental thing. If you want to just talk about being good or a little bit better than your opponents, I agree with you. That top 5 is the sweet spot. Now, if you're going to be Reddick and win, like, say, 5 of the first 7 races, you probably could get it done from anywhere.
There's 3 or 4 drivers, when you look at that track lineup in those last 10 weeks, where you can say that's a guy that could get on a heater and really make it happen. But mathematically, if you're outside the top 5 or 6, it will be a challenge. And I look at the running order tonight, and there have been so many ebbs and flows in this race, but here we are, you know, just over 100 laps to go. Hamlin is back in the race lead, controlling the event. Briscoe is there, Bell is there, so we've got the representation from Joe Gibbs Racing. McDowell has slid in, Chase Elliott in the game, Tyler Reddick. It's been a very interesting night.
It's very similar to the race we saw last year. A lot of, 11 and 19 battling for the lead. And now that they have control of the front of this field, it's important that they keep it. And it appears that if you let Blaney out front, or if you let Larson out front, they're hard to beat. Whoever can keep the control of this race and keep that first position really has a big advantage.
Let's do our FanDuel race check. Look at the numbers, Steve.
Well, the current leader, not the favorite. Bell is the favorite, a little over 3.5 times your money. So if you think Bell back there in 4th is in a great position, FanDuel would agree with you. Then you have Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson. I will just point out that if you like to, make a gamble, there's some names up there that aren't even in that top 5, right? A Blaney or a Busher or a Jones, but makes sense to me. I have to agree. I think Bell and Hamlin should be the favorites. Marty.
Steve, do we know if Junior officially doubled the purse for Denny Hamlin? Because now it is officially last to first for Denny Hamlin. Has been really happy with the handling of the race car in the 11. Can they pull off the win after, getting the restart or the start of the race wrong from the pole position? But I know why FanDuel might have Christopher Bell sitting in 4th in the better position, because they are in a better fuel position than their teammate Denny Hamlin. They had him wait on pit road on that last stop. Adam Stevens said, hold, wait for me. Made sure they got the 20 full. The 11 did not get full, so a slight fuel advantage for Christopher Bell, who's all had a quick car as well, equal with his teammate Denny Hamlin.
Adam Stevens, Christopher Bell, so good, as we talked earlier last week in the Coke 600, of managing the strategy, maybe getting a little bit out of balance with some of the other teams. And as Marty talks about there, playing a little fuel strategy game tonight to set them up for success down the stretch.
Well, so let's just lay out what we have in front of us, right? We're 102 to go. Let's call it 100 to go when we take the green. They can run 75-ish to 80 on fuel. I don't know if you can run 80 on tires. So now the real question is, if we don't see a yellow, when you pit, how you manage this green flag pit stop, and what balance you have to have with your race car as the track cools.
NASCAR on Prime, back in Nashville. Restart, 99 to go. Front row teammates, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe.
Chase Briscoe trying really hard to get a good launch there. Does a great job. Nose to nose off into turn one.
Boy, Reddick, strong charge in that inside lane.
Eric Jones around the top. Grabs a bunch of spots down the back straightaway.
Briscoe hanging, outside lane. Hamlin squirts through.
Then
Can he
slides
clear?
up.
Yes, he does. 11 on point.
4 wide back in the pack.
McDowell getting it done. I mean, we talked about the runner-up finish at Watkins Glen. Wasn't bad after some challenges last Sunday in the Coke 600. And here he is fourth inside of 100 to go at Nashville and sliding up in front of Reddick. And as he does that, door opens for the 9 of Chase Elliott down low.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Chase Elliott up toward the front. This is an opportunity for him to grab a couple spots if he can. Oh, cars in the wall. 23, Bubba Wallace comes down, clips a 48.
We're destroyed.
Destroys the right rear of the 48 of Bowman.
Byron was near all that as well.
Yep, looks like they all got into the corner, got a little bit of contact.
I got no brakes, dog.
There we go, the 23. Looks like having some brake issues as well.
Sorry, brother, appreciate your place.
Maybe once he had the contact with the outside wall, he wasn't able to slow the car down, no brakes to be able to avoid what happens here. So let's see.
Bubba 15th here.
Oh, the 17 gets out of shape up the racetrack. Bubba is now out of brakes. So that's why he can't slow the car down from coming down the track for that contact there. Just an unfortunate chain reaction.
Bowman 26th, trying to sneak through. Big hit on his right rear.
Man, this has been a night.
Caution number 9. The attrition rate is high.
Yeah, all year long, there's been a trend of less yellows this year. We thought that maybe the point system that we have now has kind of played into that, but tonight, lots of wrecks here, Trevor.
Yeah, here with Brad Kozlowski, who was a part of the previous caution. Brad, we saw you and the 3 get together earlier. What did you make of it? I heard the comments from your spotter, TJ. Maybe it was on purpose. What'd you think?
I don't know. I know I got hit from behind. Can't really put myself in somebody else's head, but it's a shame. You know, I felt like we had just made the adjustments on the car. We needed to be competitive, and it's pretty clear and wrecked me intentionally after seeing that replay. So turnabout's fair play.
All right, Brad Kozlowski, guys.
There you go. Brad feels pretty confident about that. I mean, the 3 does go to him down on the apron, but I don't know. I just the 3 is out of the throttle when they make contact. So it'd be interesting to see Austin Dillon's point of view, and I'm sure we'll get to hear that.
And just to lay all the evidence out there, he can see the replay. He can't hear it. And listen, what I've learned is the drivers know we can look at all the stuff we want, but Brad and Austin Dillon are the 2 that know the best.
Yeah, and you know what, Steve? On Monday, if not sooner, somebody's going to put that SMT on the internet for all of us.
Oh, yeah, we'll have that on the ride home. We'll have that in the rental car heading to the airport. I mean, that's going to be, heck, matter of fact, it might be on there before the race is over.
Look,
we still got 95 to go.
And as Paul Harvey would say, now you know the rest of the
and look, you know, the only thing I'll tell you is, you know, the water cooler is going to be busy on Monday because you could talk about that or the other 9,000 things that have happened in this race. There's more than enough conversation.
Our last 3 green flag runs, 2 laps, 2 laps, and 3 laps. Under yellow for a 9th time tonight. A few good ones involved here. to be 92 laps to go. Pit lane opens here, and there they go. Just too soon?
Too soon. You know, even if you thought, man, I could somehow find an extra 10 laps out of my fuel tank, I'm not sure the Goodyear tires would hold on that long. I'm sure the 17 is going to get some tires after some contact. Kim, how about William Byron in the 24?
Yeah, they had to go back to the garage. They'll replace a toe link and rear upper, but the bigger problem was they just didn't have the balance they needed all night. He had nothing in the car he needed. It wouldn't turn, and so they were racing kind of mid-pack, and that's part of the reason they got collected in part of that mess.
Thank you, Kim. We'll get in a quick break before we return to the green flag. Riding here with Bubba Wallace, a part of caution number 9 at Nashville. Restart right around 90 to go when we come back. Back at Nashville, let's do our Credit One Bank ones to watch.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my guy here. Chase Briscoe started 31st. He's all the way up to second. Came in 15th in points, needs a great night. Led 51 laps last year. I thought he'd be fast tonight.
I'm not getting out of the boat either. It was Christopher Bell at the beginning of the show. I'm sticking with him now. Running third, was running great earlier, went from second to 30th with a bad stop back on lap 76. He has recovered. He's all the way up in the third position. I know he's winless this year. It could change tonight, Adam.
Chase Elliott not winless. A pair of victories for NASCAR's most popular driver. One here in 2022. Qualifying rained out, started 29th, but he's up in the 6th position for the restart. Front row, Hamlin, Briscoe again. Let's see if we can get a little green flag rhythm here, heading toward the 4th quarter of the race.
A little different. Denny waits till later in the restart zone. We'll see if that pays benefits for the 11. Big push by the 20.
Denny's going to clear easily off of turn 2. Joe Gibbs racing 1, 2, 3. Down the back straightaway, 3 wide. Chase Elliott.
Tyler Reddick.
Ooh, a little tight right there.
Getting aggressive in the 45. Larson there. They're all behind McDowell.
McDowell dirtying up the air for both of those Hendrick cars in the top lane. Still 3 wide down the front straightaway. Reddick tries to wrap the bottom, can't quite clear the 5, who's way up top. Chase to the inside now. What a move from that 9 car, Chase Elliott. He fires it down into turn 3. He's going to clear them both.
Chase Elliott, good move, gaining the position. And I'm not just saying that because he was.
Oh, we got another spin down the back straightaway. Wow.
John Hunter Nemechek, Todd Gilliland.
Yeah, that 42, it just climbed up inside the top 15.
He's working toward a good run tonight. 34, who was involved in an accident just a few laps ago, gets a little bit of that on the back end. Todd Gilliland to pit road. Flat right front tire.
I'm telling you guys, I don't think the leaders will come, but back half of the top 15 or maybe even all the way up to 10th, there's an argument you could come get tires now and get the gas you need.
You're creeping up to that window, right?
Yeah, or at least making a really short stop under green. What happens here?
Oh, he's out of the gas. You see that?
Yes, yes. If we go, okay, so it looks awful, like the 77 hit him. But if you go back, the pipes on the 42 absolutely are flat. He's out of the gas for some reason.
I'd love to see that again.
Let's listen.
Yeah, we didn't get it early enough, but it looks like he had some trouble going over the bumps and had to get out of the gas. He was losing the back of the car. Right there, that bump right there, he jumps out of the gas. He's about to spin out, so he's starting to lose the back of the car. Gets out of the gas. You see the fire out of the pipes. That's when they're lifting. And everybody just kind of runs through him.
You hate this for Nemechek. I mean, Steve talked about the fact that they had made up some ground. His teammate Eric Jones having such a good night inside the top 10.
All right, so let's go back out again real slow here. We're going to look for the pipes out of the 42 right after this bump. So right here, boom, fire out the pipes, right? And that means he's out of the gas. You see it twice. He's pedaling it. So the 77 is wide open throttle. The 77 has the 47 right up his left rear, shoving him up the racetrack. So what looks in slow motion like the 77 just runs him over, that is an absolute chain reaction. There's nowhere the 77's going. The 47's right in his left rear. Here you go. Watch this 42 and listen. I can't really tell from there what's going on, but I agree with you. That first shot, he gets over the bumps, and that thing fires out the pipes. I've been reading on the 42's radio. He's not screaming about getting run over or anything, and I would, back to the drivers know best. I think he knows he had to dump the throttle.
Yeah, he dumped the throttle in a place where everybody else is in the gas on the corner exit, and it's just a tough spot.
Well, but it happens again right after a restart when all these drivers are bunched together and going after positions, and that's been the reason we can't get a run going is somebody has an issue on a restart and we're all gathered up and nowhere to go.
So we showed slow motion to show you the pipe. Let's show full speed because let's really show you how quickly this happens. I mean, that is like a train reaction. That's like going down the interstate, the car in front of you checks up, you're too close, you run him over. The 77 just can't leave him as much room as you think. Oh yeah, it's clear to me right there that that bump is a challenge.
38 cars in the field tonight. 20 have been involved in an accident, among them Bubba Wallace. Here's Trevor.
Bubba Wallace, not the night you were looking for here in Nashville. Walk us through what you saw and what happened there.
Minding our own business yet again. Another week that our team doesn't get the finish that we deserve, and so I'm tired, man. It's hard to be in the same boat constantly every week, and you gotta figure out how to put it behind you and show up. I somehow become the bad guy days following this, so I got to figure out how to be better and learn from it. But say it's really freaking hard when you're driving your best and trying to just make progress throughout the race and you get wiped out. So on to Michigan.
Thanks, Bubba. Hard day for Bubba here. You can see the frustration, guys.
He's fallen down now to 15th in the chase standings. At one time had a lot of breathing room. Now not a lot of cushion. Pit road open. Blaney among those making a stop. Kim?
Yeah, and strategy call. This just shortening up their next stop. They will put right side tires on and a splash of fuel.
Pitting with 83 to go.
Yeah, a little surprised they didn't put on 4 tires with as fewer cars that are on pit road, but you know, the left side tires, I guess, just don't have very much time on them. You know, they have 8 or 10 green flag laps, so they figure there's no reason to. What this will probably do is now they need, so let's talk about their options. Now, because they need less fuel, that allows 2 tires perhaps to be a call on a green flag pit stop. If you need fuel enough that, you know, you have to wait there anyway, you might as well put 4 tires on it. Now, and this is where I want to commend Goodyear. In years past, we would have stopped 2 yellows ago, and this would be a fuel mileage race at this point, an absolute fuel mileage race. But with these tires that wear out, as everybody wants them, the garage wants them, the drivers, everybody wants them to wear out. That's what's taken this automatic fuel mileage racing and kind of shelved it. And I think that's better at some of these racetracks. I think having tires that wear out, you know, we don't want to see just fuel conservation every week. And I think Goodyear's forced the teams to handle, to have balance, to have their tires last.
Big restart coming. Denny Hamlin leading this thing in front of Briscoe, Bell, McDowell, and Chase Elliott. You're watching NASCAR on Prime. .80 laps remain. Nashville Superspeedway for the Cup Series. Second half of the regular season begins tonight. We're commercial free to the checkered flag. Hamlin, Briscoe getting us going again. Hamlin gets away. Reddick electric on the restart outside. Chase Elliott making it happen. as Briscoe fights Bell for second.
Little contact with the 5 and the 71 of McDowell. McDowell up the racetrack is going to lose that spot. Big run from the 9 of Chase Elliott up to the back bumper of Briscoe.
Well, he runs up there, lost a little momentum, allows Larson to make a little rally from behind.
They're going to have another run here as the two Toyotas still side by side down the back straightaway. Briscoe fighting on the outside of his teammate down the front straightaway. Christopher Bell's trying to side draft a little bit here. See Bell wraps tight around the bottom in the throttle. Still even, off of 2.
Such a dogfight for track position. Toyota 1, 2, 3, but the manufacturer has never won in Nashville.
Oh boy, that was close right there. Almost contact between the two of them.
Scott report Bowman and Barry both released from the care center.
Oh, Briscoe almost into the outside wall. Never lifted. Almost drove back by his teammate down the back straightaway, still side by side. What a fight.
I mean, just incredible. Hamlin likes it as he starts to stretch away a little bit. 7 tenths, now 8 tenths of a second in front of this duo.
Briscoe just won't go away. Making this so difficult for C-Bell. It's a good opportunity right here. A little side draft down into the corner, but C-Bell just can't get the car deep into the corner enough to clear and drive up the racetrack in front of the 19.
Came up, racing on dirt, wheel to wheel here tonight.
Hocevar back in the pack has had a little contact with the wall.
But you know, you look where he is there, 14th in the running order, racing with Stenhouse. Those two got connected here last year.
Here's a replay of that 77 into turn 3. Big correction. Super loose and just runs out of real estate chasing it up. Just a little touch of the wall. Nice job, Matt, having a bigger impact.
Yep. Christopher Bell doesn't get the spot away from Briscoe. Now can Briscoe start to match some lap time with his teammate Hamlin, maybe close the gap. Hamlin's only a second out. The 66 on the racetrack, rolling around turns 3 and 4.
Two drivers in the race from Tennessee tonight. Mentioned Barry was released from the care center. Saw Chad Fincham slow there in the 66.
I think he might make it around. It's gonna be close.
You know, I look at our running order, and the top 4 tonight all have an interesting story. Hamlin starts on the pole, jumps the start, has to make the pass-through penalty, been fighting track position throughout the early part of the race. Briscoe, with qualifying rained out, starts 31st. He uses strategy, gets track position, has been in the game ever since. Bell had the pit stop that put them behind the 8 ball. Here he is in 3rd. Chase Elliott, crashes out early in the 600, so he started 29th here tonight. Those are your top 4, all doing a nice job to come from behind.
The last 2 laps, Briscoe's been faster than Hamlin. Right there, just a little over a tenth. Bell second fastest that lap. They both ran a 94 and an 04, an 08 on Denny Hamlin out front.
And now the race starting to find a little green flag rhythm. Those last few restarts, we just couldn't get away from each other, and therefore the caution was going in the air very frequently. Now, though, starting to get a little racing on a more of a long run. Here's Trevor.
Zane Smith having another great week so far. They were one of the cars to choose to come to pit road at lap 217. Crew chief telling Zane, you're going to have to take care of the tires. This will be the longest we'll go all night on a set. Don't think we'll have any issues. We'll also keep you updated on fuel and try to save if we can here at the end of this.
Yeah, 12th in the running order. Best of those drivers that made a pit stop at 217. Steve.
Best of the drivers and only trying to go 83 laps. I think that's well within reach. I think he's going to have to save some. Pitting here, it costs you 35, almost 40 seconds to pit and put 4 tires on. So if he could stay within, say, 10 seconds of the lead, Man, it's going to be a heck of a gamble, but it's going to be fun to watch to see if they try to gamble and stretch this tires of fuel.
And we go to Michigan next week. Zane's been really good at Michigan, has a truck win there. So a lot going on for that race team right now that's very positive.
Another great lap for Briscoe and Bell, both just a 10th quicker than Denny. You have to imagine Denny, though, pretty smart little race car driver, knows he's got a long run here. Probably isn't pushing this car as hard as it can go. He's going to just stay there, try to manage the gap. If these guys get a little closer, he can get a little defensive, make it even more difficult on them. I don't know that we're seeing everything out of this 11 car, Kim.
Yeah, and for the 19 of Chase Briscoe, they are wanting a long run just so Chase can get a read on the car because his balance migration has bounced around all night. Early in the race, he felt like it was pretty good. In fact, said unbelievable taking off, wanted more grip. In the middle of the race, he said it was a totally different race car, super tight. So he hasn't had any major complaints, but we also haven't had a long green flag run. So trying to listen in to see what he's going to say if we're able to stay green here.
Thank you, Kim. Great effort by everybody on pit road tonight, doing such a good job with so much to cover. And this race is really starting to get interesting, Dale.
Yeah, you can physically see the gap closing between the 19 and the 11. And Christopher Bell and the DeWalt Toyota is closing in as well. Every lap, seems like Briscoe, Bell, both a little quicker, about a 10th faster. Bell, the best car of these three, in my opinion. He's third and a little bit, you know, a little bit dirty air, but he's running the better lap times of the three cars. This lap right here, though, looks like Denny almost matches Briscoe, not quite. Briscoe can try to close the gap on the 11, but he's also got to look in the mirror and see what he needs to do to keep that 20 from taking away second spot. So he's a little busier. Got one eye out the front and one eye in the mirror as well.
It's going to be 47 laps led for Denny Hamlin this time by. That'll be second best tonight behind Larson. In the way it's trending, he'll pass Larson on this run, which is remarkable when you think about the way the night has gone for Hamlin. And well, it's fun to watch Bell flirting with different lines and trying to make something happen from third.
Yeah, he went to the bottom of the racetrack right there, but the 19 took that line as well, so he shot up the racetrack. That's kind of regroup. Kim, what you got on the 19?
Yeah, finally got a read on the car from Chase Briscoe. It's about the brakes. He's just saying the pedal's going really long. They're trying to get him to adjust his brake bias to alleviate some of that. We'll have to keep an eye on that with all of the other brake issues we've seen tonight from competitors.
So long would tell me that they're just too hot at this point. Dale, you walk the garage, you see the noses of those Toyotas. It seems like those were a team that had a little split. We saw a lot of opening on some Toyotas, closed on others.
Yeah, the 20, the 11 had a little more tape, or a lot more tape. The 19 was open, similar to the 45, the 23. So even within the Toyota teammates of the 11, the 19, the 20, they're not the same. They don't run the same brake pads, same calipers. They all have a little bit of a different package that they prefer.
This reminds me a little bit, you know, last week Briscoe productive in the early stages, involved in that crash in the final stage, but he did get 24 stage points last week. He's picked up stage points tonight, and now just hoping to be able to finish the deal.
Look at there. 19 drives right up to the back bumper of Denny Hamlin. Denny just kind of rolling around the bottom. Gonna try. He's gonna look in the mirror a little bit, try to take the line away from these guys, go wherever they go. Not really pushing the car too hard.
If you're a crew chief right now, you just know what lap you pit. Your driver has to get on and on pit road, and that pit crew is going to be tested. There's going to be no window. It's going to feel like a yellow flag stop. You're going to be so close coming down pit road in this situation.
Briscoe used the top a little bit down there in 1 and 2 and made a little bit of time. Does that again down here. Only thing is it opens up the bottom for the 20. So he has to kind of cover that a little bit as well, but he does make a lot of time on Denny right there.
60 laps to go. That's like 30 minutes time a day. If we stay green, high level of concentration for all of these drivers.
That 19 got right back in the gas, running that middle lane.
I think Denny's still struggling with the tight situation in the middle of the corner. He just cannot get to the gas and get up off the corner as well as the 19 can.
Chase Elliott back there in third, just over a second behind this trio of drivers from Joe Gibbs Racing. And there you see the 9. What's up there, Trevor?
Yeah, Chase Elliott and Alan Gustafson have probably used the least words of any team on their radios all day long. Chase has been really back and forth on his balance, a little free here, a little tight there, but very small changes on that 9, and it's coming to life the darker and cooler it gets out here, guys.
Yeah, he's picked up some stage points tonight, jumped 1 spot in the Chase standings, 4th right now. It's Chase Elliott.
Oh, the 19 is going to get tight right here behind the 11. Good run for the 20 off the top.
I think consideration to come to pit road's only about 10 or 12 laps away if you're going to run equal laps on these tires. Remember, these were not brand new tires at the start. These leaders have 33 green flag laps on their tires, 58 laps to go. Throw a blanket over these 3 Toyotas.
Just incredible stuff.
Briscoe to the inside down here. Denny's going to try to get there. Here comes the 20 around the top.
Yeah, Briscoe made the charge. And when he couldn't make the move, Bell takes advantage, trying to get second away from his teammate.
Briscoe's going to side draft down here, but Denny's going to be in front of the 19. It's going to take some air away, so that should give the spot to Christopher Bell. It does. Here comes C. Bell. Now, with the better race car of the 3, can he get by this 11 and take the lead before the cycle begins?
I just think about how good Bell was late in a run last week at Charlotte. They did a good job playing strategy, putting him in position. Bell around Briscoe, and now thinking about Hamlin for the lead.
Denny's going to have to use up a little racetrack down here. He goes to the bottom. Oh, there's a lap car right here. Is that going to be difficult for Christopher Bell?
They squeeze underneath of him. Bell going to get by on the outside. Can he hang on? 55 laps to go this time by. Bell working outside of Denny Hamlin. 20 on point at Nashville. How about it?
I think he drives away. He's been running the better lap times of all 3 of these cars for the past several laps. You see Chase Elliott creeping into this picture in the number 9 car at the bottom of the screen.
And now if you're Chris Gale, crew chief for Denny Hamlin, or James Small, crew chief for Briscoe, Alan Gustafson, crew chief of the 9, you ask yourself, do I want to allow the 20 to stretch the lead? If he is the better race car, do I come to pit road? Do I force them to change the plan? I think that's what you're going to see out of Chris Gale. I think normally this would be a team that runs long, but they normally have the best long run car. I think right now they're beat on the long run, which it's funny to me because the 11 said they had to be better on restarts. It had to take a different setup. It had to take a different approach. You wonder if that compromise has now taken away Denny Hamlin's strength.
Denny just does not have the front turn. You see it down there in 3 and 4. He went down to the corner and to the front, does just not want to work and wrap the bottom of the racetrack, and the 20 just beats him through the middle of the corner and back to the throttle and drives away on corner exit. Denny using tons of racetrack right there, pushing up the racetrack with the front of the race car.
"24 lead changes tonight at Nashville. We've talked so much about the ebbs and flows of this race. Some of it has been strategy. Some of it has been great competition on track. And that 3-man dance at the front here most recently has been so fun to watch. Bell in front of Hamlin and Briscoe. And now we look at our burn bar presented by Red Bull. Steve?
Well, we got that update from Trevor Bayne about the 38 of Zane Smith last on pit road at 2:17. And they were talking about, hey, take care of those tires, take care of the fuel. Well, look at the difference. We have Christopher Bell up here, around 5 miles per gallon, just a little bit lower as expected. Zane Smith, 5.8 miles per gallon. He needs to average about 5.3, 5.4 over the entire run to stretch this tank of Sunoco fuel. Zane is able to pull that off and staying within 10 seconds of the leader. At this point right now, the 38 on a green flag run, if he can keep the air in the tires, the rubber on the tires, and get that sort of fuel mileage, Zane Smith could be a big upset. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Hey, and not just Zane, right? Guy on that same strategy. Ryan Blaney also pitted at lap 217 right behind him on track.
Yeah, I will say Blaney's overall fuel mileage not as good as Zane Smith's, but Blaney may figure once those guys pit, he could save a lot very quickly, and he has to stay close enough to Zane Smith.
Hanging in there right now.
Yeah, just keeping Zane right off the front fender of that car, keeping him close. He knows what the strategy is. He knows the other car on his strategy.
Blaney has Ford's only win this year. Got it done at Phoenix earlier in the campaign and won this race a year ago. Back to Trevor.
Guys, we saw the burn bar. We saw the difference in the mile per gallon. The way that Zane Smith is doing that, just before the start-finish line, he's going to 70% throttle. Now, normally at a mile and a half, we'd see a lot of lap time fall off with that. We're only seeing about a 10th difference because of all that brake pressure we talk about. He's been able to reduce that, still keep his corner speed up while saving fuel. Dale, I'm sure you have a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's pretty common. Been doing that for years and years. There's all kinds of ways to save fuel. There's extreme ways to do it. We've seen Brad Keselowski years ago clutching the car in the corner, shutting the car off through parts of the corner as well, and still run relatively decent lap times doing it.
And look at that. He's what, 80%, 70% throttle right there?
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Maybe we could jump to the 12's telemetry. I heard some radio about him telling him to stop shifting. So the other opportunities, remember, what burns fuel is this RPM right here. That RPM being up is burning gas. So let's look right here for the 12 car, 5th gear the whole time. Right here, bottom left, you're going to see no downshift to 4th. Staying at 5th gear. That's another way to save gas and to do it. Maybe that's more comfortable. Maybe that's what Blaney wants. Every driver has their idea. They're running the same engines. Remember, Doug Yates builds the engines for both of these cars. So whatever the strategy may be, you would think it would be the same engine package, but maybe a driver preference. I think Blaney right here is thinking, I need to be the front guy on this fuel strategy right here.
Yeah, the thing is, you just don't want them messing around racing each other too hard for this position, thinking it might be for the win, and actually not save the fuel they actually need to save to get there.
So you have like 2 races going on. Top of the screen, you have Bell leading, Hamlin second, Briscoe third. These cars must pit. Absolutely, I think we're only a lap or 2 away from coming to pit road. Bottom of the screen, Zane Smith in the 38, 12 of Ryan Blaney. Both came in at lap 217. What we understand, or we believe their strategy is to stretch this all the way to the finish. We will see if that strategy works. Marty, Denny Hamlin in the 11 running second.
Trying to hang on to second. Steven Jr. kind of noticed the handling issues for Denny Hamlin. Too tight right there in the center of the corner. Needs the car to turn better. And then when he gets off of the corner exit right here, way too free for Denny Hamlin, Trevor.
Marty, the guys were dead on. As soon as the 12 caught the 38, you could see on telemetry on SMT, he went back to running wide open, started doing everything he could to stay in front of that 12 car. Crew chief still telling him, though, you're right on target for fuel mileage, guys.
Briscoe for second. Drives to the inside and around Denny Hamlin.
If I'm Chris Gale, we're going to have to jump. We're going to have to come up with something different. We're now losing time to both Bell and Briscoe. I'm calling the 11 to pit road. Here we go. That's what you do. You flip strategies. You say, let's get ahead of it. Let's get back on offense. I have the veteran. Let's give him an advantage. I've called him to pit road. I'm telling you, if you're the 20 and the 19, your stomach is now in knots. Your heart is racing. How long do you dare stay on the racetrack? Marty.
Yeah, Chris Gale could see the handling going away for the 11. Going to fix that center corner, trying to free it up a little bit. But Hamlin said earlier, hey, cannot lose my exit. And they did. Got way too free on the exit. And it gets cooler here at Nashville. 4 fresh Goodyear tires for the 11. Gibbs cars head to head for the win here at Nashville. Final pit stops of the night.
Now the disadvantage is normal tracks, or what we've seen like Charlotte last week. Fresh tires for the 11 would be a huge advantage. 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds a lap. Here, it's only going to be 0.5 seconds. That takes a little pressure off Bell and Briscoe, but I love the call from Hamlin. This is a team looking for wins. They're already having a great day, and that's why I think the points, the magical balance is having that advantage for the winner and those extra points. Briscoe counters. James Small says, I don't like this. I need to get my guy on pit road and try to counter what the 11 decided, Kim.
Race Briscoe in, no update on the balance, just that pedal going long is the only thing we've heard from him. This is going to be a 4-tire stop, Sunoco fuel. Crew chief James Small saying we need to execute. If extremely perfectly if we want any shot of winning here today.
Hamlin pits with 43 to go. Briscoe comes with 41 to go. SVG, McDowell have also made pit stops from inside the top 10. And now is the time for Christopher Bell in the 20.
Lots going on. We have the 20 making a pit stop. On the bottom, though, watch where the 19 blends compared to the 11. Marty, the 20 stop ahead.
As soon as he took the lead, Steve, Adam Stevens told Christopher Bell, we're going to stretch it here. Get the biggest lead you can. Bell at that point said, hey, I'm pretty happy with the car. Then one lap before he came to pit road said, actually, I need a little bit more turn on entry and a little bit more turn on exit. Nice clean stop for the 20. Now let's watch the blend between the three Gibbs cars.
19 holds the lead over the 11 in their battle. Now the question is, can the 19 leapfrog the 20? 19 into 1, 20 on the apron, slipping, sliding, access road, trying to get power down. Will it be enough? I think he will hold the lead, but the lead will have shrunk dramatically down to the 19, probably less than a second back.
There it is. Bell able to execute, jumps out in front of the 19 of Briscoe.
Reddick, the current leader, we expect him to come to pit road. So remember, we're looking all the way down the running order to Zane Smith, and right there, 4th and 5th, Zane Smith and Blaney. That's really the two cars that we think can make it on fuel.
Top three, gonna have to make a pit stop. You talked about Reddick. Gibbs needs to come down, so does Eric Jones.
And right
Last
now,
time they were in lap 178.
Zane Smith has about a 3/4 of a racetrack lead over Christopher Bell. So if they do push this all the way to the end, Christopher Bell and his team would need to make up all of that distance to bring themselves back into the battle. These two drivers right here trying to stretch it as long as they can, Steve.
So you have Reddick, Gibbs, Jones. They're thinking caution right now. We're great. We're going to come to pit road. We're going to have a great control of this race. Let's look at the bottom. This looks backwards, right? Down here, you're thinking the 20 is leading the 38. Think of the opposite. The 38 is leading the 20. To your point, Dale, almost an entire lap. The 38 is out there. He has to stretch his fuel, stretch his tires, and keep Ryan Blaney behind him. Bell, he is basically on the pedal now, on the loud pedal. Go as fast as you can, 37 to go. See if you could push the 38 into an issue.
Right now, Christopher Bell 6/10 faster than Zane Smith that last lap.
Let me throw this name out there too, Steve. Analyze this. Running 6, Riley Herbst came at lap 219. 2 laps better than even that of Zane Smith and Ryan Blaney. So as we start analyzing this, and everybody's a little uncertain, right, on how far can I go and how's it going to pan out, how much fuel have you saved, he's in a decent spot as well.
So I will say with this live telemetry, the live SMT, the team's predictor is unbelievable of how much fuel they're burning. Their miles per gallon is dead on the number. The question is it full? The science of filling up a race car is still very, very difficult. Let's listen in to the 20 of Bell and what he's saying and hearing.
We're going to be in good shape here if it stays green. We're going to have to find the 12 and the 38. They've hit under the previous caution. They're trying to stretch it. We should get to them with about 10 or 15 to go, no problem.
So there you go. They're predicting softer, says we're going to get there with 10 or 15 to go. Adam Stevens has 2 championships, 41 wins, and only 397 starts on top of the pit box. That win rate is outstanding. He has crew chiefed some of the best. He is laying out a clear direction for his 20. Because he knows Bell will look in the mirror and say, oh, I got Briscoe. Stop. That's not who we're racing. I need you out the windshield. Go get the 38. Clear direction for the driver. I love that. Now, Gibbs and Jones, they're still hoping for that yellow leading the race. A yellow, and they look great. Gibbs now comes to pit road. Jones will take the lead.
Reddick had already made a pit stop. He was a part of that threesome up front that had things going in the right direction, but knew they would have to make a pit stop. Here comes Gibbs, Trevor.
Yes, his cycle continues on here. Ty Gibbs hitting pit road finally for 4 tires and fuel. Fairly happy with his car. Tyler Reddick pitted just before him a lap earlier. Had a near miss with a 33 of Austin Hill as he left his box.
My calculator up here, I like Adam Stevens.
Optimism.
My calculator says that they're going to reach each other, but it's more like in the last 2 or 3 miles of this race. I'm not sure we're going to see it with 15 miles to go.
Well, it's been some kind of race tonight. Closing on 30 laps to go, and things really getting intense as we talk fuel mileage strategy. Who can make it to the end?
That lap is what we need to be every lap. I like that right there. Puts us on a number.
Eric Jones continues to lead, staying out.
Christopher Bell's about 18 seconds behind Zane Smith right now.
So Zane is worried about the 12 and the 20.
Yep.
And you heard the coaching about trying to get on the number. Let's go back to the burn bar. Our friends at Red Bull, we're going to present exactly what's going on. And you see, without a doubt, Ryan Blaney burning more, almost a mile per gallon less efficient than Zane Smith. Remember, Zane had an advantage off pit road. He has used that. What I like what Zane's doing is get it while you can, and if you have to push it the last 10 laps, when Bell gets closer, go ahead and do it. Just a great job by Zane Smith. He showed this last week, was outstanding for this 38. I talked to his crew chief, Ryan Briganti, in the garage. He said, you know, I thought our car was good. I gave it some track position. That's what we needed, was a shot in the arm to know that we could run up there. And I think that confidence is what you're seeing here today. You know, this is not a woe is me sort of strategy. This is a we belong, we can win, let's try to gamble and do something. A great decision and a great stretch so far for the 38 and Zane Smith, Trevor.
Yeah, Steve, keep in mind, fuel isn't the only thing these drivers are racing against. 83 laps on these right front tires could be very challenging, as we've seen Porting in his few laps is 50. Zane Smith's technique right now, he's lifting very early, like we said before, killing off a lot of entry speed into the corner. Ryan Blaney catches him on entry, and then with that slow entry, it allows him to get back to the throttle sooner and drive away. So Blaney running a pretty traditional lap other than not shifting, while Zane Smith is doing a lot of saving of tires and fuel.
What I don't love is seeing this 38 car move around a lot. It's slipping the tires a lot. And so to everyone's point, we're going to go further into a tire run than we've been all night long. And how bad will the pace drop off? When we get to 10 to go, Steve, are they going to nose over on pace and tire? Is that going to allow that 20 car to easily overtake them?
What I would really love to know is if Ryan Blaney right here, he's done this. He's won races this way. He knows what he's doing behind the wheel, right? This is a guy who has 18 wins in a little over 390 starts, right? He was the 23 champ. Oh, pit this time. So the 12 doesn't think they can even make it. Right side tires. So there you have it. Now the 12, I thought he was just kind of laying back and saving his stuff, but it sounds to me like they don't think they can make it. Where the 38, everything we've read on the radio, the 38 is absolutely going to try to stretch this run, but Trevor brings up a great point. Will the tires make it?
Ryan Blaney pitting, 26 laps to go. Here he is, Kim.
Yeah, and you guys talked about in the booth how he was saving earlier in this run. Well, then they came on the radio and said, look, we're too short. We need you to go hard. So at one point during that run, they decided we just have to go for it. We have to stop for fuel later, so you need to press it as hard as you can.
The problem I have now is you said it, Dale. I just think the handling of the 38 and the old tires is going away too much. I'm not sure this is a fuel conservation situation as much as just there's not enough left in the tire to get going. He's losing over a second a lap to the 20. I mean, look at right here in the lap times. You're talking 9/10 of a second in one lap with 25 laps to go. That math is not going to work for Zane Smith. I love the gamble, and if the caution comes out, I think most of the lead lap cars are going to pit anyway. Let's listen in to what they're telling their driver.
We're going to be okay with what you're doing. We're judging some lap times from out back. I'll give you your targets. You worry about in there. I'll do the math now.
You can see that car right there twitching. Like he doesn't have any more in the corner. Like he's not able to make the lap time necessary. While he's saving fuel, he still can't get through the corner good enough. And that's going to continue to plummet in terms of grip and speed. And this 20 car is just coming way too fast.
So it's worth pointing out the 20 currently is leading the fresher tire group, but Briscoe is back there as well, and he's only about a second behind Bell. So you just wonder if Bell's focused forward on running the 38, if he burns those tires up like Trevor was saying, because Briscoe is looking really good. I think they've made an improvement on this 19 car on this run. It was clear to me the 20 was the best of the three last run. It's not quite as clear as I say that Bell runs the fastest lap of anyone on the track. He must have heard me. He wants to prove me wrong.
I'll tell you what, though, Zane is also managing those cars that made pit stops and are fresher tires getting back on the lead lap. So, I mean, they're diving all around him. He's just got so much to manage. 22 laps to go this time around.
Looking at the numbers right now, I believe like the best thing that could happen to Zane is we run about 10 more laps and you get a caution. Because if he's going to be passed by Bell anyway, I think if the caution comes out, all the leaders are going to have to pit, right? So that way he maybe can fire off at the front with fresher tires. And you see the last lap, 31.6 to Bell 30.17. I mean, it's just a huge speed difference.
A little bit more pace. The 20 car is 8 seconds back here, so we'll be racing him.
And we talk a lot about the win, but if they fall back to third or fourth, we're still in a great run for this 38.
Yeah, they're asking him for a little more pace if he's got it. I just don't think he's got it in there. So we see this car sliding around.
He probably's thinking, you think I'm saving fuel? This is as fast as I can go.
Yeah.
Now look, if he goes out here and he runs a 30-80 all of a sudden, I'll change my opinion. We have Herbst still out there between Zay Smith and Bell, but we think that Bell is going to get Herbst relatively easily as well.
That lap right there was a 31 flat, so
there you go.
That's half a second faster.
Yep. At this point, it's kind of run as hard as you can, and
yeah,
hopefully we saved enough.
20 laps to go in this race. What about Riley Herbst? We talked about him. Last pit stop for that group, 2:19, Trevor.
Riley Herbst in the 35 has 2 laps more fuel than Zane Smith. That's because of damage. That wasn't strategy. They had some damage. They had to come back down under that caution, pit again. I am hearing some chatter on the radio, though, about pitting this 35 car. I don't know if they think they can make it to the end.
It's a great update for the 35. I will say, if the new tires and full of fuel was the strategy, I still think we're going to have a great race as Bell has caught the back of some traffic here. 41-17, 35 ahead. So there's Herbst's 4th position. He's coming to pit road, and right out the rear bumper of Bell, here comes Briscoe.
Bell has to check up, yeah.
Absolutely.
Briscoe rallying now. Not too far back of his teammate. And both of them are trying to run down Zane Smith.
What a battle we're going to have. We have Bell trying to run down Smith and Briscoe trying to run them both down. Last week, these Toyotas started racing each other. Daniel Suarez used that strategy to kind of get away. You wonder, could the 19 of the 20 get battling and give Zane Smith a little extra breath?
You want to win. You want to maximize points as you start thinking about the chase.
And this traffic has killed Bell's approach to Zane Smith. He's been almost a half a second slower the last couple laps. I still think he will get there, but it's definitely hurt his math where we had him catching him way quicker.
What about the 20, Marty?
Yeah, Adam Stevens mentioned this traffic to Christopher Bell a moment ago. He said, listen, we're going to get there earlier than I anticipated to the 38, but the 19's catching us. You got to be smart with how you hit this traffic.
Dale, how well can you time it here? You know, I just don't know at some tracks you try to time it where you don't catch him at the wrong spot.
Yeah, I think Christopher Bell got the message, and he's done some good things over the last couple of corners. And seems like he's stretched that gap between him and Briscoe out. But again, he's just having to go where they're not to get that clean air. Here's the 35 coming back to pit road.
He had a penalty. They made that stop.
So now the 19's sort of faded off a little bit and he's about 3/10 slower than Christopher Bell the last 2 laps. So maybe the tire's going away on the 19, the balance starting to fade.
15 laps to go. The advantage for Zane Smith over Bell, just over a second.
Yeah, it's about 20 car lengths right now, down into turn 3.
And if you're Zane Smith, right, 2 seconds back to Bell, but it's 10 seconds back to Larson in 6th. So, you know, with 15 to go, there's still a lot of points, a lot of opportunity.
So pretty clear that Zane's going to lose the lead to Bell. Wonder what the best case scenario is for him with 14 coming to 13 to go. Trying to get this car home into the top 10.
13 to go this time by, and Bell is right in his hip pocket. The lap car of Logano is there. Here's Christopher Bell outside of Zane Smith, drives by and takes over the race lead. He rallies after the pit stop, and Christopher Bell back on point, coming to 12 to go at Nashville.
Oh, a car in the wall right there behind him. The 17 of Briscoe, that's going to bring out the yellow.
And there is the caution. Chris Buescher into the wall. 11th yellow of the night.
I wasn't sure. That looked like just a right front tire.
I can't tell.
No, the rotor's gone.
Yeah, the rotor's missing.
gone as well.
Damage on the hood. I think that's a rotor as well.
Hey, 15 laps to go. You get a caution here. I mean, there's things
What a
to
move
think about.
Zane Smith. You said it, Steve. This is what they needed. If this wasn't going to work and win them the race on the fuel strategy, they needed this late yellow. There you see the 17. Watch the hood.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Just at the end of the back straightaway, the lift, and apply a little brake pressure, and the rotor just explodes. Look at the rotor parts flying off of that thing. Wow.
I said 15 to go, 12 to go, 15 on the lead lap here.
Well, so now there's 3 choices. Stay out. Zane Smith is not staying out on these old tires, so he's pitting for sure. So what does Bell do on 4? Zane Smith is absolutely coming, and you hate to do it, but you probably put 4 on that car. It's going to hurt you, but I just don't know if you could take only rights again. They're on actually right sides right now. But then Briscoe and Hamlin, you can kind of flip the opposite of what Bell does, right? If Bell pits and you're Briscoe, maybe you gamble and stay out and hope this thing fires off quick enough for you.
You can't put just rights on that 38.
You could
got
try.
A couple laps to go.
Yeah, you could try. How many are on the lead lap? 15? Probably.
You're going to
faster.
bring half of them down pit road, possibly?
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
So you might restart the top 6, top 8?
So your challenge is you have guys like Blaney, for instance, who pitted and took 2 tires at 274. He's not pitting. Yep. He's staying out on 2 right side tires. So I think that's your concern if you're Bell. Let's start with Bell. If you pit, you got to assume 4 staying out, maybe 5. You got to be okay restarting on row 3 or row 4 with 2 tires. That's a tough call. Easier call for Briscoe or Hamlin because you're already 3rd or 4th. So I think that's the big decision for these guys. I think for Zane, you're absolutely pitting. I probably look up. If the field splits, I'm taking 4. If the whole field comes, I'm going to take 2.
Yes.
Just to stay at the front of the group. It's way easier. I will tell you, though, it's way easier to make all these calls up here, Adam.
I was going to say, it might be easy up here, but down there, they're sweating it big time.
I'm telling you. And this is like playing open-handed poker, right? Bell has to show his cards first. So, he's going to show you his cards and then raise. And then Briscoe's going to say, well, I can beat him, so I'm going to do this. And then Hamlin's going to do that. I think it's going to be really hard to just automatically think you're going to pit because there are too many cars that ran long. And I just think, like, when I look at Jones and Blaney and those guys, I just don't believe they're coming to pit road unless everyone in front of them stays out. Let's listen in to Briscoe in the 19.
Breakthrough is bad, honestly. That's my problem right now. What's the issue? Just shake or? The ton of shit. Come on, like I just blow a rotor at any point. Yeah, you're not going to blow a rotor. The rotors are fine.
There you go. So he has brake shake. James Small feels very confident in his system.
He was one that had a lot of opening on the front, and so the shake is likely being because they're too cool.
Right.
And but he's confident they're going to make it to the finish line.
So what's different, right? We talked about the guys that had a lot of opening are the ones that broke rotors. Well, if he's running a pad, a brake pad that operates at a cooler temperature or operates with less grip, then it doesn't overheat the rotor to then cool too much. But that's also probably why you have shake, because pads like that, when they don't get super hot, they don't clean up. They get blotchy. Kind of like rubbing a wax candle across like sandpaper. It just gets really blotchy, and next thing you know, it just pulsates the brakes. So while it's bad for performance, James sounded very confident that he felt like his brake system would make it to the end. And if you're one of the cars that have blown a rotor, you were going to wish you had that system on your car. Right now, Briscoe wishes he had a system that was a little bit faster or more confident on the brake pedal.
Another tell during this pace is the weaving of the cars, the cleaning of the tires. That's traditionally a guy who's going to try to restart on those tires.
Yep.
That still doesn't mean they won't come to pit road if they change their mind at the last minute. But, the guys that are weaving and trying to keep their tires clean are potentially considering staying on the racetrack for this restart. Trevor.
Yeah, big debate on that, even for the 38 car with all those laps on the right sides. Take a listen.
I think we're in a bad spot with tires, you know what I mean? I don't know if you got the pace to run with these guys with that many cars.
Zane Smith came on and he said, well, it's not my right front, it's my right rear. So could 2 tires work for the 38? We'll see if they maybe take that risk like the 7 did last week.
I will tell you that as long as this cleanup is taking of what I assume is the broken rotor, we're losing laps quickly. And I will tell you that when you look at and you process the data on what 4 tires or 2 fresh tires do with 14 to go versus 12 to go versus 10 to go versus 8 to go, those laps are huge variations in results. Like 9 laps to 7 laps is a totally different run. And now we're at 8. You're restarting now with like 4 to go. Probably under 5 to go, 4 or 3 to go at this point. So there's the chance of taking 4 tires. Back to your question, hard to believe I'm putting 4 tires on the 38 at this point as we ride around slow, clicking off laps.
I think you come down and put 2 tires on it. I don't think you leave him on the racetrack because I don't think he runs in the top 10. And
I don't know if he finishes. I'm
well,
sure he might get run over on this restart on those old tires.
And had we not had this caution, I think he finishes 8th or 10th anyway. So, I mean, what's the harm? Come on down pit road. Some are going to come with you. You can take that outside line. So, if you're on newer tires, you want to choose the outside line, jump to the 3rd groove, try to pass as many cars as you can through turn 1 and 2. And so he's got an opportunity here with the fresher tires on the right side to gain a few spots before this thing's over with. Here we go.
It's decision time. It's going to start with Bell. I can't believe Bell can give up the lead at this point. Too many on the lead lap. The 38's coming. I bet the 19 comes if the 20 stays out. Split decision. Nope. Out. Only the 38 on its own. Man, a majority pits. I love where Reddick's thinking. Get some tires, have an advantage. Way more stayed out than I thought. Trevor, 38 on pit road with a big gap. I think he could take 4 tires free here.
They might be making that change right here. Originally, they were saying 2 tires, Steve, but they've got tires up on the wall looking at left sides. They're going to call it on the fly by the gap behind them. They're going to go at 2. Checking up, stalled it in pit road there.
And for Ryan Blaney, the call by Jonathan Hassler was, if we can gain a bunch of spots, we will stay out, but if not, we're coming down to take 4.
9 drivers stay out here.
So, Steve, you're watching the 38 come off pit road there. A big gap to the 3rd car, so maybe he should have taken the 4.
Well, yeah, because he sat in pit road, stalled, or had an issue leaving. So I think he could have got some less almost for free. But either good. It's easy to pick on the little things that have gone wrong, but that 38 has managed one heck of a race so far.
Going to be 16 cars on the lead lap. Joey Logano gets the free pass. He's back on the lead lap. And remember, 2 years ago, he won that wild race here at Nashville.
2 laps to go at Nashville.
Hey, we got a caution down the back straightaway. Let's see who can get it done. Chastain gets hit by Larson. One more time, Denny Hamlin gets the jump.
Caution will come out again. There's 4 overtime.
We're 15 seconds from winning and then 10 seconds from winning.
The 5 doesn't go.
He's out of fuel, middle, pushing you, pushing.
11, the 19. Logano risks it, though.
That's a bummer.
Logano on the bottom side, Briscoe on the top side. The yellow flag comes out before the white flag. Great restart for Logano.
White flag, one more. He got it boxed in up top. Let's freaking go! We're out again! We did it! Yeah! Yeah!
You talk about working overtime, 5 overtimes 2 years ago, 31 extra laps. How will it play out here tonight? Going to get a huge restart inside of 5 to go.
And then right now, Zane Smith is in 9th place coming to the choose on those 2 right side tires. Ahead of him, Jones, Gibbs, SVG in 6th place, Larson 5th, Chase Elliott. Briscoe running 2nd, was sitting there matching lap times with Christopher Bell before that caution came out. At one point, Steve, you thought he was the better race car. What does Bell do? Does he choose the top, the bottom? Which line does he want to be in? I'm assuming all night long, everybody's choose the inside line for the control. Can the 19 fire off and battle him on the outside and stay there off of turn 2?
You mentioned those fresher tires are back at 9th, 10th, and 11th. If they don't get to move up significantly in the choose, I think they're going to need another restart. This one's going to come with 4 to go. Unless, to your point, they can get to the 3rd lane and get a bunch of cars down the backstretch. All right, starts with Bell. I think Bell has to take the bottom, right?
Bell to the bottom. Denny to the bottom as well.
And think about Denny Hamlin and all the analysis on restarts. What happened at the start of this race? Wouldn't it be something if a big restart out of the old veteran netted him his first win here at Nashville.
So last week we saw a hand out the window from Suarez to Larson, but that's a racetrack where there's really nowhere for the second row to turn left. Dale, the way the front stretch is here and the flat being in play, I don't know if Bell is going to time it with Hamlin, right? I mean, you think he's just going to kind of do his own thing?
Yeah, it's hard to say. He's got help from the 11 to be able to get help, you know, a teammate to push and commit to him. Kim, what you got?
Yeah, a little hand slapping on the 19 from crew chief James Small. We saw Chase Briscoe stay out, but before that he faked the field and ducked in like he was going to come out. James said, you got to stop doing that. Chase saying, I'm sorry. Then James refocusing his driver saying, just do what you've done on every single restart.
New tires on that 38 car on the outside line.
4 laps to go. All Joe Gibbs Racing out front. Christopher Bell in control. Chase Briscoe to his right. Denny Hamlin right behind him. Here we go again at Nashville.
Denny's doing an excellent job right here, pushing the 20 clear.
Bell gets the lead. Side by side for second. Hamlin shoots through. Denny Hamlin looking for the race lead. 3 wide back behind him. From row 2, maybe to the top spot. Hamlin inside of Bell, 20 strong in the outside lane.
47 of Stenhouse now, the first car on new tires back there in 6th. I'm not sure if he'll have time as the leaders are side by side.
3 laps to go. SVG, Chase Elliott side by side. What a run for the 97. Hamlin not
inside.
Going away.
All right, the 20's going to get tight. A little contact right there. More contact down the back straightaway. Here comes the 19.
Briscoe waiting in the wings. Where does he go, low or high? They continue side by side for the race lead.
Denny had to get out of the throttle right there. Got a little bit tight, but he's still going to be there on the corner panel. Wants a side draft down the straightaway.
2 laps to go at Nashville.
Here's a side draft late on entry into 1. He waited to side draft him, trying to time that just right. Bell still on the outside.
Neither one of these guys can gain the advantage. Side by side down the back straightaway to 3. We'll see the white flag this time.
Up the racetrack, more contact. Here comes the 19, hard on the inside.
1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Who's it gonna be? Hamlin, Bell, and Briscoe, they're all there. 3 wide to turn 1. This is incredible. Bell shoots to the lead.
That's going to take the line away from the 19, but Denny's going to clear into the lead.
Denny Hamlin chases inside after Bell had squirted out front. Hamlin in charge. 1 last run for Bell in the outside lane. Can he get there? He cannot. Thinks about a crossover. It won't happen. Denny Hamlin, big time victory in Nashville. How about it?
Oh, we got a big crash down into turn 1 and 2. The 45 of Reddick made hard impact with the outside wall. Chaos as they cross the finish line.
What a remarkable finish. 3 wide for the lead into turn 1. Teammates going at it.
Denny Hamlin pulls out the win over his teammates. That's going to be a fun competition call
If you get your shotgun start,
this week.
Double money and double points now.
He's giving double points and double money.
Heck yeah.
Joe Gibbs Racing been getting it done on the concrete. It's back-to-back wins on the concrete for Denny Hamlin. Won the $1 million at Dover. Gets it done here tonight. First time Toyota has won at this racetrack. And Hamlin's the guy to get it done.
Christopher Bell's going to relive that last lap 1 million times this week. All-time Cup wins. Denny Hamlin at 62. 10th on the board. How many more can this guy win? He says he wants to go out while he's still on top. Doesn't look like he's going to fall off the top anytime soon.
thanks to the All-Star victory. Also won earlier this season at Las Vegas. Second points-paying victory of the campaign for Hamlin. Fireworks going off here. We had plenty on the final lap. Caution comes out late, and it set us up for a dramatic finish. We're gonna have to start talking about Hamlin and a restart deficit. He was outstanding there. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. comes back, finishes inside the top 5. 7th for Van Gisbergen. Zane Smith ends up 9th. Here's Denny Hamlin out of the car, Kim.
A very excited Denny Hamlin gets the first win for Toyota in the Cup Series at Nashville. He's gonna go grab that checkered flag that he certainly earned there late. Denny, wow, what a finish between you and your JGR teammates. How did you pull it off, that late restart in those last laps?
Well, I think the 20 and the 19 were battling so hard in that first corner. It just let me get to the inside of the 20 in the first corner there after the restart. And from there, it's just side by side with the 20. And you know, he drove in so deep on that last lap into 1 that it just allowed me to barely clear off of 2. But man, what an unbelievable day. Starting first, going to last, and back to first.
I was going to ask about jumping the start at the beginning of the race. A, did you agree with the call? And then B, how did you know just that you needed the patience to get through this entire race after that?
Oh, I definitely jumped the start, no doubt about that. Yeah, just looking back on it, just didn't wait quite long enough. But I want to say hi to Mari and Trish from Progressive and this whole team. Sport Clips, Martha's retiring, so happy retirement to Martha. And Jordan Brand, Yahoo, National Debt Relief, King's Hawaiian, Bob's Discount Furniture. Just thanks all the sponsors that I've got. It's just been amazing. And thank you to this sellout crowd. Appreciate y'all sticking around. It's been an honor.
How does it feel to be the first Toyota driver in the Cup Series to win here?
It's amazing.
There you have it. Denny Hamlin, a winner here at Nashville Superspeedway.
Cool night for Denny Hamlin.
Take a look at this here, how this crash developed. A little bit of a push from the 12 into the back of the 9, just hooks the 9 ever so slightly. He contacts the 45, and that is a hard hit. Head on into the outside wall for Tyler Reddick. A lot of guys lucky to get through that one. We're riding on board with Blaney right here. Right there's the contact that just gets Chase ever so out of shape.
Tore up a lot of race cars tonight.
Watch this. This will be a hit.
We saw some smoke on those last couple laps. Coming to pit road, it was the 5 has some major issue. I can't tell. I think it's a flat tire, and then he spins around coming to pit road. Never was on the racetrack, but if you saw that smoke kind of off from turn 4 with 2 to go, you see he's on pit entry right there. So I don't think it needed to be a yellow, but it was a little distracting.
All right, let's send it down to Danielle and the fellas.
Adam, I know we have to head to Michigan. The schedule slows down for no one, but I'm glad we have a full-hour post-race show on the way to watch those final 5 laps as many times as possible. Corey LaJoie told Mark Martin, I haven't seen a finish that thrilling in quite a while.
It was unbelievable. And you know, for 12:30 on the East Coast, that finish was definitely worth your time. And I can tell you this, post-race is going to be worth your time, too. We're going to have a lot of fun here for the next hour.
Mark, what'd you make of that one?
Guys, Denny Hamlin is 45 years old. Most drivers at 45 years old are getting pushed out of this sport. And he's the best version of Denny Hamlin that there's ever been right now.
Wow. Thought there was going to be some Toyota on Toyota crime, maybe a little contact, but he and Bell kept it pretty clean. Adam, it felt like deja vu from the final laps at Charlotte a week ago, and this time Denny Hamlin prevails for career win number 62.
Such an impressive run for Denny Hamlin. Mark Martin said it. He just gets better and better. Full post-race reaction coming up. Danielle said it. Everybody ready to go on the set. And a conversation with Denny Hamlin. The bow. And a huge win for driver 11. What a night in Nashville.